Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and sports fans of all ages, broadcasting live from the heart of the Duke City, it's time for a great afternoon of sports entertainment talk. Get ready for in-depth discussions on everything from the court to the field, mixed with the business and culture that orbit the sports world. Whether it's the latest blockbuster trade or the societal impact of sports. 2 Men On, with your hosts, Van Nunley and Fred Slow, with producer Isaiah Johnson on 95.9 FM and AM 610.
Mike's hot.
Animal.
Hey, yo, what it do, Duke City? Welcome to the program. The program in question, of course, is 2 Men On right here on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the sports animal. One Van Nunley here, one Zay Johnson back at the studio.
And Fred's not here.
It's a Fredless Tuesday on the program. Fred's out on assignment doing some important reconnaissance work for 2 Men On, but lucky for me, I got young Jake Cassio here and the Gay Boys talking fantasy. Jared and Simon Gay joining us on the program. A lot of sports to unpack today. Wild weekend in the NFL, doubleheader Monday Night Football. We're going to get your fantasy team straight. Caitlin Clark is going to have an eye patch tomorrow, I guess. Sam Darnold is the truth. The A's are leaving Oakland, and all your other sports and sports adjacent topics. We're live from the Duke's Team store, basically the corner of Central and Carlisle in the Nob Hill Shopping Center. Come down here, 10% off on your boy.
Whoa.
Right out of my pocket.
Van's making deals
I
today.
give you 10% off. It goes right out of my pocket, right in the owner-operator Steve Palmisano's pocket. Let's make this guy rich. Let's make me poor. Come down here, get your merch. I might walk out with the new Albuquerque Dukes hat. Look at that retro boyo with the cream and the red right there.
Oh,
that
I
is
see that.
so sweet.
I see. I'm buying this jacket right here, the NM United Dukes collab one, the red, white, and yellow, little pullover. It's just about to be windy season. I'm gonna need that.
You're gonna wear that to the balloon fiesta.
Oh, I'm gonna wear that everywhere. I'm gonna wear it rain, sleet, or snow.
You're about to get bombarded with Bills talk, friend of the show, because 2 Bills bros on the program right now, and let's just dive right into it.
Well,
The Bills are the truth.
You got all three.
You got all three.
A 3-pack. I love that. The Bills are the truth. They're undefeated. They're the best team in the NFL. Jake, it's your floor.
Well, I got one thing and one thing only to say, Van. Hey, let's go Buffalo, man. Oh, my Lord. Our Buffalo Bills are hot, okay? We don't need Stephon Diggs. We got Keon Coleman, okay? First career touchdown yesterday. Looked awesome. He sat the whole first quarter because he had issues being on time for team meetings. So
I saw that. He had to ride the pine in the first quarter.
And that's what we do in Buffalo. We're a humble team. There's no individuals. We're here to go out there and play.
Dallas could never.
Never. Yeah. You know, we're America's team now, Zay. The Buffalo Bills are America's team.
I tried to throw a little bit of, condolences your way also, but you don't have to come at my Cowboys at the same time. We're still America's team for sure.
They haven't been America's team in 30 years, Zay. What are you talking about?
We're just struggling a little bit right now. That's all.
Got to get Deuce the ball, man.
Yeah, that's one of the big issues. Let's start there, right?
I think the real problem we learned yesterday is teams that pay players too much aren't doing good right now. Trevor Lawrence, $55 million contract, looked like he was a high school student out there throwing the ball.
I thought it was Bryce Young playing. I didn't even realize.
Same.
Not nearly as tall.
Trevor Lawrence could change his name from Sunshine to White Bryce.
Yeah, the Bills on all 3 levels. It's a team of no individuals. We all have the same mentality. We're out there to win. We threw 4 touchdowns to 4 different receivers.
Who's we? Did me and you?
Bills,
Oh,
yeah.
the Buffalo Bills.
Buffalo
okay.
Bills.
All right.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure.
I'm so used to saying we because it's the Bills Mafia.
Mm-hmm.
It's the communal thing right there. We're all part of it. But the Bills are the real deal. We're the best team in football, better than the Chiefs, better than the Cowboys, the Eagles, maybe not the Vikings. because Sam
come on.
Darnold is
All
elite.
the teams that are undefeated, with the Steelers 3-0, you can't.
Garbage.
There's so many fluky, like 2-1, 3-0 teams.
The
You're telling me
Vikings.
the Cowboys missed the playoffs? No, the Bengals could be right there. I know they're 0-3,
true.
so it's crazy, but I'll take it. I mean, I'm a little more humble Bills fan than you, so I'll take being up there. I mean, the fact that they're doing it without Diggs, he was like the biggest deal when he came over, and you got rid of him. Pretty good price, second round pick next year. We can draft another receiver there, but it was super exciting. I mean, I was just there. It was such a great game.
Oh, you were there in person?
Yeah. So flew in Saturday. I got back this morning at 10 a.m. So I left around 1:30 or 2 o'clock our time just to come back for the radio show. I had to make sure I'm here and I can talk about the Bills.
Oh, we appreciate your presence and your punctuality. You're
Absolutely.
here early today. We appreciate that as well. Did you jump through a table? Like, did you coat yourself in mustard?
I told
Did
myself
you do anything
that
weird?
when we go to the Super Bowl, I'll go through a table.
Yeah,
Now,
I have
when
the
the
same
Super
deal.
Bowl, I don't know because that may never happen. But let's just get there. I'll go through a table if we get there. Simon, you go through a table if we get there?
Maybe. I probably wouldn't go from very high up.
You just got to be able to
Hurt a
break the
little bit.
table.
Yeah,
I mean,
ground level.
both of
ground
you two
level.
are big boys. Like,
I think
gravity
I
is
think I
very
would break it
real
if
for
I
you
just laid
two.
on it.
Yeah, let's all make a deal right here. If the Bills make the playoff or the Super Bowl, we jump through tables. I'll even light mine on fire.
I'll skip that
Nope.
part. They understand my dedication just by going through it.
You've never jumped through a table, young Cassio.
I'll jump through this table.
That's shocking to me
I have
that you've
jumped-
never done it.
I've done it, here and there, but not exactly for the purpose of Buffalo Bills football.
That's so much
Ah,
worse.
okay.
Yeah.
A lot of kitchen tables this guy's jumping on.
It's been a long life as a Bills fan for me. I was 18 when they made the playoffs for the first time ever.
Is it the Tyrod Taylor year?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we lost to Jacksonville in the playoffs in that one.
Jacksonville are a shell of themselves.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
Trevor Lawrence looks awful, like legit awful. As of yesterday, fun fact, Trevor Lawrence has a worse career QBR than Daniel Jones.
Wow.
I
Daniel
I
Jones-
totally buy that.
Daniel
Daniel's always
Jones
had decent
catches
stats.
all the heat and Sunshine gets none of it. Like, it's time to start being critical about Sunshine. He just got paid. His team's 0-3. He looks awful. Is this like a bust?
I have never been a Trevor Lawrence fan from day one. Even when he was at Clemson, I was never a big fan of his game. And I said he's not going to be what everybody thinks he's going to be. And he's proven my point right.
He has this is the best support staff he's ever had. 2 good running backs. You signed Gabe Davis. I mean, I still love Gabe. He was getting some heat yesterday at the game, but dude had to go get paid. Bills weren't going
You gotta do what you gotta do.
Do your thing. So, Brian Thomas, Evan Ingram, Christian Kirk. I mean, dude, give the Bills those receivers and that running game. I mean, Josh would do even better things. So it's a bummer because unless you're to get drafted first overall, you got to be a top 10 guy your whole career. Otherwise, you're a bust. And it sucks, but he's always had that standard straight out of high school.
Well, everyone's bashing Anthony Richardson for completing half his passes, and so is Trevor Lawrence.
Sure. Yeah. How is he free
it's
from
not any
ridicule?
better.
Is it the long, beautiful, flowing
It
locks? Is that why?
It's
It's the
Is it
association of his name.
Statuesque
It's the fact that he
Easter
got
Island
paid.
face? Like, is that?
It's the fact that he got paid and he was so good in high school and college. That's literally it.
Does that make it? You think that makes him
People aren't talking about him because he used to be so good. I mean, he's not great. He's not the worst quarterback in the league, but he's not great.
I feel like him also being in Jacksonville helps. I mean, he's had Christian Kirk and some other good weapons, but I think we give him a little bit of a pass. The same pass that we give a QB, say they're in Carolina. Jacksonville also hasn't had a good QB in a long time. I do think Lawrence, it's one of those situations where mentally he's not going to be able to recover in Jacksonville. I think that maybe if he switches teams and goes to a decent team, he can pull that off. But I don't think he can be that quarterback that's just carrying a team like we see some of the other top 5s do.
Well,
He's got
Peterson.
weapons. Like,
I think it's Doug Peterson, honestly.
I think it's Trevor Lawrence.
They just don't match. I mean, look at all these other quarterbacks that are getting in new situations. Justin Fields with the Steelers and Mike Tomlin, that clicks and never clicked over there in Chicago, but he had 3 different head coaches. Same thing with Trevor. He started with Urban Meyer. Now he's got Doug Peterson. The offensive schemes and how Trevor likes to play, those don't mismatch.
I mean, he's got a brutal schedule.
Yeah.
Every defense he plays is really good.
Yeah.
He's got Houston, Indianapolis, Chicago, New England, Green Bay, Philadelphia, Minnesota, Detroit.
dude, that's gross.
They're gonna get killed in all those games except for New England.
They're picking
But
Shador next
but
year.
New England's gonna be a 10-3 game. Because New England can't score.
They should trade Trevor to the Dolphins right now and then just tank the rest of the year because he is garbage. He's not going to win any football games.
So much. Whoever, I don't think the Dolphins couldn't afford him because they just paid Tua. But
the Jaguars also can't trade him because they would go negative like $200 million.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, this draft, it's going to become one of those situations where, Shador may seem like the obvious pick for some of us, but there's going to be like Quinn Ewers or some guy who we don't even think about right now.
Jackson Dart.
Yes, like I could see somebody like him being the next like Paxton Lynch or something that comes in and steals a lot of the hype. But Shador, it should be.
I don't think Shador's going number 1 at all. I don't think there's any chance.
It won't even come close to it.
Travis Hunter before Shador.
He'll be top 5. Shador with passing protection. I don't think there's another QB.
Well, he's going to get drafted by a team that doesn't have an O-line. That's why they're at the top of the draft. So he's going to be struggling with that same problem.
Yeah, well, at least we know wherever he goes, he's going to call out what the issues are.
Yeah, sure.
He's not scared to speak his mind.
Yeah.
And he's going to demand that his dad's the coach.
Oh my gosh.
Might be vice versa.
Bill Belichick, the coach, and Deion Sanders, the defensive coordinator.
Could work.
Wherever he gets drafted, immediately import both of those guys.
The press conferences would be amazing. They're getting their media in, I'm all for it.
Look, back to Trevor Lawrence. Like, I personally and this program has been running Bryce Young through the mud because he's never faced adversity. He was on the best high school team in the country. He was on peak Alabama. It's the exact same thing for Trevor Lawrence. Best high school in the country. And he was on peak Clemson, like unbeatable. Like the 100 best players in the country were all on Clemson. And now that he's on an even playing field in the NFL, he's exposed. He's not up to the hype. And we're seeing it in like the last 2 years. And if he wasn't so tall and statuesque and long-haired and white, he would get way more ridicule.
That's true.
100%.
And I think you also got to give a lot of the credit, too, from yesterday's performance to the Bills' defense. That defense looks entirely different than it has in the last 5 years. It's a bunch of guys on a field that I'm like, we have DeMar Hamlin starting. First career interception yesterday, by the way, too.
From Sunshine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awful pass.
Oh my gosh. Thomas was
wide open. Overthrew him.
Now,
it's hard to watch.
Every time we talk about, so we have this conversation a lot. I mean, Simon and I, we like Lawrence, still kind of like Bryce Young. Are we wrong to just assume that when these guys go to a new team, which they probably will at some point, that they're going to be fixed? Because if we're like, get Trevor on a different team, get Bryce on a different team, at what point are they're just not good at football?
Trevor more than Bryce. I think Trevor for sure and another team would do better. Bryce is up in the air. And I think if Andy Dalton, again, it's no shocker that a seasoned veteran is going to come in and be better in an offense than a rookie. But, if Andy Dalton just keeps balling out in this Panthers offense, then as far as we're concerned, it just makes Bryce look worse and worse and just makes us assume that it wasn't the Panthers, it was him. But I do think that Trevor, for sure, he's even shown enough in a little bit of a decent career he's had, like some of the wins or – when they won 10 games, made the playoffs. He's shown that he can do it. I just think that he needs to get out of Jacksonville. I think he's mentally probably shot there.
Well, I think this era of quarterback, like this younger era coming in, it's all about confidence and ego. You obviously got to have a big ego to play the position of quarterback.
Sure.
Really important. But they've been told their entire lives growing up through social media and all this stuff, how great they are, how amazing they are. And then once they start getting exposed and they have a bad year, it's all downhill. And it's all about confidence now. And look at Tua when Brian Flores left. Brian Flores was grilling him every day. You'll never be a quarterback in this league. And then Mike McDaniel came in and it changed the whole thing around. Now, was Tua great? No, but he was good enough. He had really good numbers. He was competent. The scheme worked and he got his confidence back. That could happen for Bryce. That happened with Justin Fields right now. Look at Sam Darnold. He was seeing ghosts and he's 3-0.
The whole Bryce Young situation is kind of ridiculous. You give him, he's played 18 games and then you bench him. New coach. The Panthers last year, they had one player who's even good at football, and he's on the Giants now.
Sure.
It's Brian Burns. Their entire team was horrendous. He had 2,800 passing yards, which is bad, but there's no one to throw the ball to. You got to give him another chance.
He never had a shot to be successful there.
No, and he's good at he's good at football. He's small. He had a good O-line the last game he played, and he didn't do very well. But you got to give him another chance. I mean, the fact that they benched him right away is pretty ridiculous.
But that's the NFL nowadays. So you move on fast. Like the NFL combined is wasting $800 million on coaches being fired because all their contracts are guaranteed. The NFL moves on quick. It's right here, right now, and they don't have time for projects anymore.
What's really unfortunate about it is that Bryce Young they're not trading him. So they're basically making him sit there and holding him hostage. And if you guys aren't going to start him and you're just giving up on him, at least let another team decide if they want to try something out with him.
I'm pretty sure that was Lawrence's first game in Buffalo.
Yeah.
Or if it wasn't, it was the first one in the last 4 years.
Well, last year
London
was London,
and the other one
then was in Jacksonville.
And then the playoff game was in Jacksonville.
Yep.
So, yeah, that was, I mean, it's a different environment, too. Monday Night Football, Buffalo.
This report brought to you by the New Mexico.
I've been a Trevor Lawrence apologist for years, and now I am jumping off the bandwagon, and we'll unpackage this more quarterback talk when we get back. You're listening to 2 Men On, 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
This report brought to you by the New
Welcome back to the program, Duke City. Welcome back to 2 Men On, right here on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal. One Van Nunley here, one Zay Johnson back at the studio. Young Jake Cassio on the program, and Jared and Simon Gay, the Gay Boys. We've been talking a lot of fantasy in the 5 o'clock hour. More quarterback talk right now. IshamDentalABQ.com. Scott Isham is the best in the business. 1 day dentures. Get fitted. Get your dentures molded. Get them in 1 day. All insurance, Medicare, Medicaid. They take it all. They're your dudes. IshamDentalABQ.com. And without further ado, here is your Isham Dental soundbite of the day.
They're down in 7. This one is launched from McLaurin. He's got it. Touchdown. Touchdown, Terry McLaurin.
Jaden Daniels coming out party last night. He looked like a dude.
He's the guy. He's the guy. He's the best looking rookie quarterback this year. And then right behind him is like Bo Nix. Michael Penix Jr. would be one if he was given the chance to start.
I wish they put him in.
Yeah,
I wish they put him in.
He deserves it. But Jaden last night looked awesome. And they're running just like a real basic college level offense. Just a lot of cross routes, go routes, and corner routes. And that's really all they're running. Nothing complicated, nothing too weird, just a lot of defensive back misdirection, and it's working. And then also on top of that, the RPO game and the play action game with Brian Robinson, who's a tank, and then Jaden Daniels taking off. They're thunder and lightning.
He looks like an absolute dude. He looks like a veteran, calm, composed, reading the field. He's not like telegraphing his passes. He's not looking to run. He's looking to pass. He's reading the field. He looks like a savvy NFL veteran in 3 weeks. And by the way, the Washington Guardians haven't punted since week 1. They haven't punted in the last 2 games.
It's also not their name.
What? Since when?
They
Well, it's the first team in history, I believe, to not punt in the first 2 games or something like that.
It's 2 games
Or
in a
2
row
games
with
in a
no
row.
2 games in a row, no
Yeah,
punts.
2 games in a row.
yeah, like statistically, that's like a 1 in 1.7 million chance of it happening. And Jaden Daniels, former Tiger, got it done.
Even the Bills punted yesterday.
Yeah.
Even when you kill people by 37, sometimes you still got to punt. But Daniels is already, granted, he won a Heisman. I know he's a little more hyped than Anthony Richardson, but
Sure.
Anthony Richardson was supposed to do exactly what Jaden Daniels doing. And Richardson should have been more effective on the ground because he's so big. I think he's got a slightly stronger arm, but dude, he looks great. Love it. Just got to stay healthy.
Well, Jaden Daniels actually got playing time. He actually has a snap count. Like Anthony Richardson played 12 games and then was drafted. Jaden at least had a chance at Arizona State beforehand and then at LSU for 2 years. He looks good. And with Cliff Kingsbury as their OC, it works perfectly. Because now they got Scary Terry lining up on the left, and it's perfect.
2-headed monster in the backfield with Eckler and Robinson. If they could play defense, they might be your dark horse pick in the NFC East.
Except their defense is horrible.
Well, they did
One of
give
the
up
worst
33
defenses in the
to
league.
Blonde
I think
Ambition Tour,
I
Joe
think
Burrow.
Them and the Bengals are like the 2 worst defenses.
Yeah, like as a Cowboy fan, I'm hearing all the I told you let go of Dan Quinn. I'm like, hold on, okay.
Yeah, you like
Dallas-
33.
Yeah. Dallas has let up 89 points. The Commanders have given up 88. All right, so it's not like Dan Quinn has just turned into the 2014 Legion of Boom over there or something.
How'd you feel about the Saints and Eagles? The fact the Eagles that had to bother you a little bit, man.
Yeah, it bugged me. It even when the Saints were up 3-0, it was bugging me. And I'm like, what do you mean 3 points? Not only that, I had Derek Carr over 1.5 passing touchdowns, which should have been a give me. It should have been a give me pick. But of course, they knew something we didn't, and he didn't produce. But yeah, that was an irritating game. And of course, the Eagles, it didn't shock me. I did kind of predict that they match competition. So the games that they should lose, they usually perform well and shock people. So, I mean, Philly's got something going, and Saquon, of course, is got a lot to do with that win.
If he stays healthy, he's gonna be so good. I mean, that was all the conversations we had about Barkley. Is it knee? Is it ankle? Can he stay healthy? If not, the dude's gonna lead the league in rushing yards, lead the league in rushing touchdowns. Especially with McCaffrey injured. I mean, it's really he's so good. I'm just Penn State guy, so I want him to stay healthy.
Well, Barkley finally got an offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
He had Andrew Thomas with the Giants, and that was it.
And they're absolutely force feeding him too. Like, he is part of the game plan. He's not just part of the team. Like, he's the feature of the team so far this year.
And he's kind of that fresh life, like if they never got Saquon, the Sirianni beef and Jalen Hurts feud would be so much worse than what it is. But he kind of revitalized that locker room a little bit.
And he's in no way equivalent to say Kevin Durant as a basketball player, but it's kind of similar to what Golden State did, where they feel like we need somebody to get us over the hump, and I think they're trying to make Saquon that guy in Philly, where they've gotten there before, but they haven't gotten over the hump. And a lot of that reasoning is Jalen Hurts and the turnovers. So if you have Saquon there, you can at least limit the turnovers. I mean, he's still throwing interceptions even with Saquon there. So you could only imagine if he wasn't there, what type of year they'd be having.
Well, Philly has to win as a team. You can't put it on Jalen Hurts' back. Like, he's a competent NFL quarterback, but he's not the guy. You're not going to put your whole team on his shoulders and win with just Jalen Hurts. Like, It has to be a team effort in Philly.
He's very clutch, though. I'll say that. I was listening to the end of that game on the radio. I just left the gym, and I heard the crowd on it was right before Goddard had the big 60-yarder that set them up for the game-winning touchdown. I could hear the crowd in the third down, and I'm thinking to myself, the louder they scream, the more confident I'm sure the Eagles are going to pull off some, broken play. Something will happen. And, of course, I just hear Goddard running down the sideline, and it broke my heart.
He's the last chance for the Bama quarterbacks. All those picks came out a couple years ago. You got 4 NFL quarterbacks, all so good. That's it, Jalen, and he's probably the worst passer of the 4, like historically.
But just Jalen's an Oklahoma boy.
Well, as awful as Trevor Lawrence is playing, Mac Jones might have another chance here pretty soon.
Yeah. I mean, it's all about revitalizing careers this year.
Hurts just needs his wide receivers back. I mean, Devontae Smith got killed.
That was
bad.
Atrocious.
AJ Brown's too big to play wide receiver, so just needs his guys back.
You're a hate for AJ Brown, man.
I love
I'll
AJ
take
Brown.
that to my
What,
grave.
did you miss him in all your leagues or what? Why are you hating on AJ Brown?
No,
loved
dude,
him,
he's just
hated him,
yoked.
loved him.
I think he's too yoked to play wide receiver.
But DK Metcalf is it?
Yeah.
He gets hurt too.
That's fair.
Is Brown bigger than Metcalf?
I don't think
No,
so.
I think Metcalf's way
I don't
bigger.
think anyone's bigger than Metcalf.
No, they got
The only other one I can
his
think of,
dad's huge too.
Kelvin
Metcalf-
Benjamin.
Metcalf's dad.
That's the only guy I
Because
can
Kelvin
think
Benjamin's a biscuit away from being a left tackle.
Yeah.
Mike Evans, maybe.
Let's unpackage this Devonta Smith hit and all the aftermath of that when we get back. You listen to 2 Men On 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
This report is sponsored by
95.9 FM, AM 610, the sports animal. Young Jake Cassio in the house. The Gay boys, Jared and Simon Gay in the house.
Yes, sir.
Hitting you with a lot of fantasy talk in the 5 o'clock hour. If you're 0-3, these boys will help you get your stuff right.
We got teams
We will
that are
straighten
0-3.
you out.
We're right there with you. It happens.
Well, I mean, your boy here is undefeated in all this league. So, I mean, there's that.
I'm
There's
only
that.
undefeated in our radio league. My auto draft team.
If you're the only team that auto drafts
You get such a good team.
out of 10 or 12, you crush it.
I know.
Because everyone tries to play it too smart. You try to get too fancy. Everyone thinks they're the expert. They draft people too early, and then just money just keeps trickling down on your auto draft picks. Devonta Smith got absolutely rocked. One of the dirtiest hits I've seen in a long time in the NFL. Not even a penalty. No fines yet. That was awful. And he got hocked to it after that, too.
It reminds me a lot of the Devontae Adams hit. Remember when he got his mouth guard knocked out in Green Bay?
Absolutely
lit up.
despicable behavior. I mean, they should have blew the whistle, forward progress, before that even happened.
Yeah.
He was just held there, defenseless. And defensive lineman Christian Ball comes in, helmet to helmet, smacks him full force, and he just immediately goes limp and falls on the ground.
He's twice the size of Smith. He's already getting dragged down by two guys. Brutal, man.
I'm bigger than Devontae Smith.
Yes, you are.
Okay. Now, disclaimer, I would never make the hit that this guy just made. But two things. On defense, when you haven't heard the whistle yet,
Sure.
like you said, the whistle should have been blown.
Yeah.
So one thing I always took pride in is if I saw like a bunch of guys trying to tackle one guy and they hadn't yet, I took pride in being like the big sonic boom that could knock the whole pile over. And like I took pride in doing that. Now I wouldn't target a head when I did that, but I would like seeing like a big pile and I'm going to be the one to go knock it over. So that's one thing. And I feel like maybe part of that was here, but then you see him spit afterwards.
Oh, disgusting.
And again, not validated in any way.
Defensive end Peyton Turner adding
Okay.
spit salt to injury.
So what I can't see a scenario as to where a guy will go to that extent unless Devontae Smith was saying something crazy. Now, again, not validated at all. You should never do this. But I do wonder, like, what the motive was here. Like, why would you then spit on this guy? Did he say something? Was it ongoing? I don't know if these guys have a history.
You can't say anything. He was blacked out.
Yeah, there's no way he said
I would say the
anything.
same thing. Like, you can't talk when you're asleep.
Yes.
Well, prior to, you just don't, unless you're truly a really like an Ndamukong Suh type of guy, you're not just going to go spit on somebody just because you're in that mode and it's a football game. So
Well,
I really
like when I
wonder-
get active, and get involved, like I'm a spitter. I would always spit, and so when I first saw it, I thought it was unintentional. Rewatching it, he 100%.
100%. He was looking right at him,
Yeah.
like direct eye contact, leaned over, like put his body into it. It wasn't just a little, he leaned into
I
it.
bet
Like
you
that
it
was
wasn't
a full body loogie that he shot at him.
I bet you it wasn't eye contact.
Well, I mean, his eyes were closed.
Yeah.
One of them was making eye contact.
Remember when Rajon Rondo pulled that out on Chris Paul? And he did it real like slight and no one could really tell. But he just like, it looks like they're talking and Chris Paul just throws a fit and starts throwing punches and everyone's confused as to why. But then you look in slow-mo and you see Rondo just like dart the smallest little stream of spit out of his mouth at Chris Paul when they were trash talking. And that's when I learned that spitting on another athlete is like the number one way to start a fight. That's like when all bets are off. You have your own little pride of, I don't fight, I don't fight people. But then someone spits on you. That's one of the things that gives you the green light to go ahead and throw hands.
That's next level garbage human behavior. Like, I know how it is in the dog pile. Like, you got your ear hole right there. You drop a little loogie in somebody's ear hole. But he, like, full body. This never happened to you guys playing football? You never got hocked to it in your ear hole?
No.
Come on. Is it just me?
I don't think I've ever spit on any sport.
It must have been because you were getting lit up. I lit people up.
Oh, I was 100% the one getting lit up. 100%.
I mean, I've been stepped on, before and
Yeah.
stuff like that. And that's always intentional most of the time.
Yeah.
But
hang on to that ankle a little longer than you're supposed to. Like all that happens in a dog pile.
Yeah, the only time I've been spit on is when I ask for it.
Okay. All right. We went there already. 38 minutes into the program.
4:38.
Half of Van's childhood is his head being pinned to the ground and guys just ripping loogies into the side of his house.
Maybe I played football in the ear spitting generation, and you guys must have missed out on this, but that was like a normal thing.
No, we were
like if you're in a dog pile, yeah. Wet willies too. Yeah, for sure.
Actual spitting in your ear. That's the next level. You know,
ours you just get the back of the helmet and shove it in the ground.
Yeah.
You don't spit on anybody.
Things, yeah.
Also, I'm a very spit-worthy human, you know, like
no.
If I sneak out of the pocket and like I get a first down, you know, my slow, skinny, wide ass gets a first down, like with my legs, like I kind of deserve that. Like I kind of deserve that.
Well, you probably were a big trash talker on the field.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%.
You got to be.
Man, I could see you being one of those guys clever enough to where if you did get hit or lit up, you'd say something that made the guy feel like he's the one that got lit up, even though it was you, and find a way to flip it around.
In the 100th percentile, I was that guy. I constantly ran my mouth on the field.
Yeah, egg him on. That's nice. That's the best way to be.
And that's maybe I'm the only one that got spit on because of that exact reason.
And I'm sure Devontae Smith was talking smack. You got to have a little bit of that smack talk if you're playing for the Philadelphia Eagles.
How's he talking smack to a defensive end who barely plays?
That's true, and not even getting lined up against him. That's a fair point.
I mean, Devontae Smith's not blocking linemen. Dude get killed.
He
got killed, but when he got hit by linemen.
A little HB toss, crack back.
We'll pass on the sideline. You say something to somebody after you catch it, you know.
Say he's not crack blocking anybody. It's like having Deuce Vaughn crack Jordan Davis.
That's a good comparison.
Is that you were a defensive lineman and you strike me as a mildly decent human? Did you participate in any of that kind of behavior in a dog pile? You hold on to a tackle too long? Like,
no, the biggest thing about me, and again, this hurt me and helped me out a lot, is I could have been, and I know this, I could have been a much better player if I was willing to really buy into that like warrior mentality when I step on the field. But I always was really realistic about everything. So like a lot of times I'd be in my stance and I'd look at the guy across from me like, I mean, I could be angry, but this guy is probably just trying to keep a scholarship. Like he probably just wants to win the game. He doesn't have a personal issue with me.
So you're the only guy that the sportsman's like sportsmanship commercials actually like, you know, touched, where you're like, yeah.
Well, yeah, but also even just in some of the JFL leagues, like seeing some of the injuries, it was like, okay, I don't want to see anybody really go through that. So I was never super dirty, but what would throw all of that out the window, and this is why I targeted to maybe if Devontae Smith was trash talking. If someone was trash talking me, I usually immediately would take offense to it because I'm like, I'm not doing anything disrespectful out here. Like, I'm not starting any trash. So why is someone picking a fight with me? And then I'd be like, oh, they must think I'm blank, or they must think I'm a wussy. We'll put it that way. So I'm like, and then that would cause me to start playing mind games with myself, and I'd become a much better player from that point on. But 9 times out of 10, no, I'm not in any dog pile. I'm not doing anything dirty. Now, like, there's some highlights of after a sack, like I'm trying to get in the guy's ear and had to be pulled off by his old lineman. But that's because, you know, again, they're trash talking. So that is the only thing that could make me lean that way. And I know Devontae Smith, when he plays Dallas, he's always running his mouth. I don't know if it's because it's Dallas or not, but I don't watch the Eagles enough to know if that's how he is as a player. But I would assume so. Like, I'd assume he's running his mouth. Like
Simon, you used to run your mouth when you're on the field?
Not really. It's only the only time I really like hit people hard. Like I probably shouldn't have is when they made fun of the last name. If you make fun of the last name, your game is over. Especially when I was playing hockey. If you brought the last name up, your day's done.
Simon was the biggest trash talker and biggest hitter on the hockey rink.
So hockey, I talk crap. Football, I didn't, because football, I didn't really have time.
Okay.
You're getting to play and you're scoring touchdowns, and then you go off the field and then you play defense. You get to play, you score touchdowns, and you go back on defense. So I didn't really have time to talk crap.
You got Simon. I remember he played one guy. His dad was the coach. This was when they faced La Cueva. And his dad was intentionally keeping his son off the ice because he's the best player. He knew Simon was going for him to a point where he is now yelling at the coach, say, put your son on the ice. And he kept like mismatching it. He just didn't want him to get hit. He knew what was going to happen. I'm like, you got a Division I tight end out there on skates. I'm like,
enforcer.
Good luck, man. Simon, how many suspensions? How many susses did you get?
Just one.
Just one? So what was that one for?
So the guy slashed our goalie in the back of the head. I skated from the blue line to the net and cross-checked him in the throat.
Okay, that's
did he
pretty.
say anything
That's
about the last name?
No,
Oh.
he hit the goalie. That's a no-go.
Oh yeah.
Can't touch the goalie.
Broke one collarbone too, right?
I have no idea. Oh, maybe. I don't know. I don't remember.
yours or someone else's?
Someone else's.
Okay,
don't
that
break
makes more
mine.
sense. Yeah.
That classifies
your
as
face, not mine.
Couldn't be me.
that classifies as self-defense, I guess. Right?
No,
He
but-
passes fans test, passes his filter.
The NFL has to review that hit
Oh, he's
and
gonna,
has
he's
to
gonna be fined
review
for sure, but
that
it'll probably be
spit too.
it'll probably be fined like $5,100. So basically, like
like $37 to one of us. Yeah, like nothing
I say a suspension.
for sure.
At least
he needs
one
to
game.
miss. He needs to miss some game checks for sure. For sure.
Was there ever suspension from the Joe Mixon hip drop 2 weeks ago?
no, he got fined 50. Either I think it was 31,000 or 15,000, something like that.
But Derwin James gets suspended for a game.
that's because he did it 2 games in a row
Yeah.
and hit the guy in the head with his helmet twice.
Well, coincidentally,
was
they
told.
play the Chiefs next week during the suspension.
That's how that works.
Yeah.
I mean, the Chargers aren't beating him anyway because Justin Herbert's not playing. So
The Chiefs are in every. I know we're Bills fans, so we're extremely biased. Chiefs get all the calls. Now I know on that last drive, the Falcons got one really generous penalty going their
Yeah.
way, and the other 2 were definitely flags on the Chiefs. So I'm aware that the last drive might not happen. But I mean, that pass interference call was worse than the one that they gave him the week before.
Blatant.
Oh my god!
That's
I
like
mean,
that's the example for the class.
Like,
when you're teaching zebras like what pass interference looks like, that's the example. That's the one you call every time,
you go back
100%
for
of the time.
ball over the defender, and the guy is running into you with both hands up, and you have no chance to catch
if
the
he was
ball.
not in the end zone, it would have been pass interference. If he was on the 5, they're throwing it.
I hate it.
You think so?
Yep. If
I think it's
if it wouldn't have been
Chiefs'
if
favoritism.
it wouldn't have been first and goal on the 1, they would have
I
thrown
agree
the
with
flag.
that. I agree with that.
Because then you hand the ball to Bijan and they score. He's going over the line. 2 steps, hop over the line, touchdown.
That was the game that the Chiefs. You just need them to lose that one because they were definitely not.
And it's
supposed
come
to.
so close. Like, honestly, like they've gotten saved. They have
Oh,
been
yeah.
saved week in and week
The
out.
Bengals call was terrible
Chiefs could be 0-3 in a different universe.
for sure.
There's a holding penalty on every play
Oh yeah,
in the
you
NFL.
Could, you could throw a
The
flag
Chiefs
every
have
play.
0 holding penalties in their 3
That-
Super
that's-
Bowl wins.
That's not true. Seriously.
Yes.
And they have the guy
That's
Juwan Taylor,
100%
who's
true.
Juwan Taylor, the king of the illegal formation.
Yeah,
Still, again, how many of those get called?
He false starts on every single play. Next time you watch the game, just watch him for 5 plays. He's false starting every single
Yeah,
play.
right tackle for the Chiefs. You guys tell me that they're not getting favorable calls.
It's
The
so
James
funny.
Harden of the NFL. Like
It's
James
so-
Harden's never got called for traveling once in his career, and he does it every play.
And
It's the same thing
even
with the
watching
Chiefs.
the
Patty's
game with
the-
Chiefs fans, they're like, "Oh my gosh, what is he doing? He's 2 yards back before the quarterback catches the ball."
So wild.
well, Patty's the biggest crybaby ever. When the Bills beat the Chiefs last year on that, well, it was an illegal formation that they called it, or
No, the offsides on Kadarius
offsides,
Toney.
yeah,
He's
yeah.
Clearly offsides, doesn't check in, and it ruins like a really amazing play with Kelsey just grabbing the ball and chucking
Sure.
it across the field. Like amazing. But like, what are you gonna do?
I think every team should just be starting to give the Patrick Mahomes effect to the Chiefs, just being like, that was horrible, bull crap. You know, that play, you got saved or whatever, because that's what he did to the Bills.
Yeah, name another quarterback, any quarterback in the NFL, if they do that after the game. I'm not just saying Josh Allen. Anybody, you'd be like, this guy's pathetic.
Yeah.
Especially Deshaun Watson. Oh man,
Imagine Watson does that.
Sure.
I mean,
Yeah.
they're already calling for his head. So
God, dude, I love watching his
and he's
downfall.
got Kadarius,
Give me all this you
he's got
got. It
Kadarius
is
Toney on
yummy.
his team, so he might line up off sides. For him.
Yeah. Hey, more NFL talk when we get back. You're listening to 2 Men On 95.9 FM and AM 610, the sports animal. Welcome back, Burke. Welcome back to Two Men On, listening to 95.9 FM and AM 610, The Sports Animal. I think we have 5 Malik Willis truthers here. Is this the resurgence? This is the year of quarterback resurgence.
I have been on the Malik Willis train for a long time.
You're a huge fanboy.
I have his
Before
rookie jersey.
Packers. Yeah, before the Packers, you're on Team Malik.
Yeah, I was wearing it on Sunday.
I love that so much.
Yeah,
I love it
he
so
was
much.
playing the Titans too. It was perfect.
I know a lot of this is obviously Matt LaFleur's scheme, and he's doing what Malik Willis is capable of, and they're doing it very well. And it helps that every position group on the field for the Packers is better than their opponents. It makes Malik Willis look significantly better with that great game plan and all those fantastic players on the Packers. They are young, they are hungry, and I am wildly impressed with Malik Willis the last couple weeks.
Sounds like you're just waiting for Mac Jones.
Dude, I'd love Mac Jones too, dude. Hey, Sunshine is done. Dak Prescott, done. Sunshine, done.
I was waiting to see Zay's reaction with that one.
Bring in Cooper Rush.
Smiles.
Bring in Mac Jones.
Cooper Rush. How about Trey Lance?
Oh, Trey Lance.
Cooper Rush only has 1 loss in his career.
You got to bring in number 19, the worst quarterback number ever.
That is so wild. He got a gig.
I do like the fact, like I just said, love the fact that Malik Willis is doing this. I still think he sucks.
No, I mean we got to see. He played the Titans, mind you that.
He'll get exposed so
revenge
fast.
game,
And you're
so
gonna be
yummy.
like, I think it's 100% all coaching.
Hard agree.
He's an athletic.
But he hasn't
he's
choked. He's done exactly what the team has asked him to do. Like not making bad decisions, not throwing the ball around.
You can win and not be a good quarterback.
I guess we'll find out next week against the Vikings. Their defense is pretty good.
One of those guys are going to get exposed.
And it's not going to be Sam.
Fantasy talk when we get back with the Gay Boys. They're going to tell you how to fix your team, whether you're in first place or last place. Good luck, boys. Fantasy talk when we get back. You're listening to Two Men On, 95.9 FM, AM 610, The Sports Animal.
Clear.
Day of the Tread. The Day of the Dead themed bike event is October 26th and 27th. The Bosky Bone Shaker Gravel Ride offers 3 distances. Our road event has distances for all ages and skill levels. Go to dayofthetread.com for more info.
No traffic right now. Crash cleanup continuing northbound I-25 near Lomas. Seeing quite a bit of backups of that as well. That crash affecting your left lane and shoulder. Be really careful as you make your way through there. Elsewhere around town right now, westbound I-40 between University and Coors. Traffic moving slow in that area. Also dealing with slowdowns westbound on Paseo between I-25 and the river. Also,
1 hour in the books, 2 hours to go. Full show today here at the Duke's Team Store, Nob Hill Shopping Center. Come down, 10% off on your boy.
1,000 air to 100
While
air.
we are here, 10% off.
Man of the people.
From my
That's you.
pocket, right in the owner-operator Steve Palmisano's pocket. On me, baby. Come get your
Carlisle
new lid.
Central.
Come get a sweet New Mexico United Dukes crossover windbreaker. These are fire.
So good. Or they still got any of the Mike Piazza packs going?
Oh, yeah. They still got a few over there.
One of my buddies in San Diego sent me a picture wearing that shirt. And I was like, I sent him a picture back and I was wearing the exact same shirt.
Oh, I love that so much. I also have one.
Yeah, I'm surprised we've never worn it on the same day.
Some new merch in the building, new T-shirts, new hats. It is just, no one does it like the Dukes do it right here.
The hats are incredible, to be honest. I could wear absolutely any of those.
Steve is the best in the business.
Dude, they're awesome.
You ain't lying, brother. Young Jake Cassio on the program today. Jared and Simon Gay, the Gay boys, going to talk some fantasy football in the 5 o'clock hour. Jared, you said you were in 16 leagues.
Yeah, it's a little easier.
So you probably have every win-loss record possible.
That is correct. Handful of undefeateds.
Uh-huh.
Couple leagues where there's additional scoring things, so you may have like a 5-1 or a 2-4 type thing. So yeah, pretty much.
Hey, what are the biggest trends you're seeing in the teams with winning records?
Just have some. Let me pull a team that I really like.
I think a lot of them have the running backs. They get a lot of volume, like Kamara, Henry, Kyron. I mean, all three of those guys are going nuts this year.
Yeah, there's not
the guys who are scoring touchdowns. It's still a low-scoring league right now.
It's
and
wild.
You saw it a little bit last week. Dak Prescott came back, more points last week than the first two combined. Last week was a little bit better, but if you have the guys scoring touchdowns, if you took the risk on guys like Barkley, I mean, I have a league with my mom, and she's 3-0 because she's got Barkley. She has Justin Jefferson too. Like just guys who are scoring touchdowns.
What about the quarterback situation? You think quarterback is a very important position for fantasy or not as valuable?
A little bit depends on league size. The smaller the league, it makes it more important because you're facing that guy more often. So if someone has Allen, you're going to face him twice. Simon and I are so anti-quarterbacks. Like we talked
and I'm
earlier.
pro quarterback.
Yeah. Like if you don't take him early and you don't pay for him, because guess what? You can go pick up Sam Darnold. He's outscoring. I think he's a top 5 quarterback right now.
Sam Darnold, and except for last game, Derek Carr too.
Yeah, and Malik Willis, if you played him last week. Can you believe that? Sorry,
Yeah.
Malik Willis in fantasy football is incredible.
There's 3 quarterbacks in the 70s, 4 quarterbacks in the 60s, and 7 in the 50s. So there's really not. I mean, you got Jaden Daniels, Lamar Jackson, and Josh Allen top of the league because they run so much.
I mean, it's historically low production for quarterbacks so far this year.
Yeah, I don't think the RB0 drafting strategy worked out so great this year for people.
It did not this year.
Yeah.
Of course, long season, this early can change. Barkley goes down. We have hey, this is why you don't draft running backs.
Yeah.
So, that our opinions change really quickly, but I agree. The wide receivers you thought, a lot of them are hurt. And it just took a while. No one played in the preseason. You just saw preseason for 2 weeks in the NFL.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, Brandon Ayuk looks horrendous.
I know. I have him in one league, and my draft strategy is you never draft guys that just get paid. So I drafted him before the contract was done, and that has come to bite me.
Jalen Waddle's been bad. Pickens has been bad. That's just because Justin Fields doesn't throw the ball.
Oh, but you got to fade all the Dolphins wide receivers.
I mean, even the Texans wide receivers, Nico Collins is a beast, but all of them have been like Diggs, Dell, Schultz, just been like mid because, I mean, Nico's getting all of it, and then Joe Mixon runs for 150. So there's just a lot of teams with 3 wide receivers that aren't getting the ball.
And the tight ends this year, too, have been a little interesting.
Yeah.
It was supposed to be a good year for tight ends, and it's not at all.
Brock Bowers looks like the best fantasy tight end right now.
Yeah. Brock Bowers. Kincaid finally got a little more involved. Every game that he starts getting the ball, Bills go up by 30. McBride got banged up. Laporte has been a huge disappointment. He's injured as well.
Kelsey.
I mean, now we talked to Kelsey last week.
Sure.
Stay away from Kelsey. I'm so out. Guys like McBride, Kincaid, Laporta, I think you can still go buy them. They're young. it seems like the Chiefs. I mean, I know a bunch of Chiefs fans. We talk often. It looks like they just don't. They don't need him, and he does look a little. He looks a little slow. He's not out there. He wasn't as much. He wasn't out there as much last week. But where are you at with Kelsey?
He's just like double or triple covered. The key to beating the Chiefs is covering Kelsey, and that's exactly what everyone's doing. I mean, they're not beating them.
Yeah.
But Kelsey's not the one beating them. But Rashee Rice went for, was it like 11 for 110 and a touchdown, I think it was.
Like historically, like the Chiefs game plan for Kelsey, like you always see plays that are just 100% designated to go to him. But it seems like he's not part of the game plan so far this year.
Well, he's part of the game plan, but he's covered so well. I mean,
or he's a diversion.
The defense is hyper focusing him, and then Rashee Rice has 100 yards, 75 yards, and 110 yards. So I mean, he's going off.
There's a lot of there's great reasons why, but like I was talking with Van about this off air a little bit, and I think that there's this thing about when a football player finds his little boo thing, right? But what happens here is, yes, there's things. This is why I give like Aisha Curry a lot of respect, because there's gonna be things that teams do to try to stop you. But when you meet that wall, if you are super content with your home life, you may not always be so fast to try to find ways to get over the speed hump or get through the roadblocks or find ways to improvise, because you may not truly care that much. And I feel like Travis, with him being so content with his off the field life, I feel like maybe if he's double covered or something, instead of figuring out a way to scheme around it, he may just be like, oh, I guess I might just not have a good game this game.
So I blame that ugly haircut.
I think what I'm hearing is that Kelsey needs to have a kid, and he's going to go nuclear next year.
Ooh, okay.
No way him and Taylor are going to have a kid together.
It doesn't have to be with Taylor.
It's valid.
I mean, this is
all I'm saying is TJ Watt had a kid, unreal. Baker Mayfield had a kid, pretty good. You have a kid and you go nuclear.
The dad energy is real, especially if the kid is born that week. You're catching a touchdown.
I need a kid. I need a couple things in my life to just get a little bit better. So
if Travis had a kid with somebody else
other
than Taylor Swift, if he has a kid with somebody else other than Taylor before next season starts, that'd be a crazy timeline.
I mean, this is a classic
with Tyreek.
It's a classic like prom king, prom queen, like the quarterback and the head cheerleader situation. Like he's always looking over his shoulder on the sideline to, like make goo eyes at the cheerleader, and he's getting lit up on the field. Like this is what's going on with Travis Kelce. I couldn't agree with you anymore, Zay.
Yeah, I just think that he's not willing. I think like what we're saying is true, but I think in the past, I mean, this isn't the first year Kelce was doubled or anything like that. So I think in the past he maybe cared more about finding different ways to be the man, whereas now he's kind of more content with just letting the young guys try to find a way to win. That's just me, though.
So are
experience or anything,
guys? Are you like fading Kelce? Are you benching Kelce and like just picking someone up off the waiver wire? Are you
I'm
that concerned?
Close to it. I'm getting real close to benching Kelce.
I have him in 0 leagues intentionally because of the draft price. I couldn't bench him.
I got Kelce in the 5th.
Who are you going to replace him with?
Yeah,
there's no one you can replace him with. I mean, all the tight ends suck except for Bowers, McBride.
You playing Zach Ertz next week, or Travis Kelce?
Zach Ertz against the Cardinals, maybe. Yeah.
So I mean, so if you're, I haven't got a chance to say friends of the show yet, but friends of the show,
please do.
If you have someone out there like Ertz, maybe you really like what Kmet did last week, week 4 and 5. If he doesn't do anything next week, I mean, if there's a week to play Kelce where there's a chance, it's the squeaky wheel. It's next week. Got to get him going. But if he doesn't do anything next week, you're stuck with him. You bench him. You can't cut him. Absolutely not.
And you can't trade him.
What are you gonna trade him for?
Yeah.
If I offer you got Kelce and I got Kyle Pitts. Like, I mean, the upside.
No.
See, okay, so and Pitts is struggling, so maybe I should pick someone better. Someone give me a tight end.
Even Hunter Henry.
What to trade for?
Like if you have someone had Kelce, or you had Kelce and someone offered him to you, what are you taking? Within, being realistic.
If I had
3.
Kelce, yeah.
I mean, tight ends. I'm taking Kittle. I'm taking Pitts.
Taking Pitts over
Kelce.
I'll probably take Ferguson because he's probably gonna be more involved.
Yeah, okay, let's go. I like Ferguson.
Okay.
That's a good one. Ferguson or Kelce? Rest of the season.
Just because of the
fact
potential and the chance.
Sure.
And I mean, we're only week 3.
Sure.
You know, and you win fantasy at the end of the year.
Yeah.
So it's all about the potential.
And don't discount, like, Travis Kelce's like the type of guy. He's like the football bro dude that will hide an injury. Like, maybe like he's 75% right now and they're not targeting him on purpose. Maybe he is just a decoy. Maybe that's actually Andy Reid's game plan. And the second you get tired of him, the second like you bench Travis Kelce, here comes a 3-touchdown game.
It's probably the fact that he's 34 and last offseason he said he's tired of getting hit. It's probably that.
I'm surprised at the fall off, to be honest. I didn't think it was going to happen like this.
He's going to retire.
If you play football and you verbalize that you're tired of getting hit, your next year is going to suck because every time you're going to get hit, you're going to be like, dang, I should have retired. Or dang, that hurt.
I don't need the money.
If Derwin James was playing, he's going to get lit up by, I mean, he's not next week, but he could get lit up by him. He goes, dang, I should have retired. That happened last year too. Remember he got suplexed by Derwin James?
Yeah. I could be doing podcasts with my brother. Like, could be the mayor of Kansas City in a year if I wanted to.
He's probably making more money on podcasts than he is playing football this year.
I can be Mr. Taylor Swift. You know?
Sure.
Yeah.
Really lean into that, dude.
I think the biggest thing about this is if you're 0-3 or 1-2, you got to make changes. Okay. If you have Kelce, maybe you trade him, maybe you get something, maybe you just sit him and take the shot on somebody else. Who's Kelce playing next week? The Chargers.
Chargers.
They may not even need him. You may just hand it off all game. He may fall in the end zone. But the biggest thing is if your team is struggling, you need to mix it up. You don't want to sell at a bad value. But sometimes, sometimes the boys just need a different guy around on the lineup to get them going.
Just don't do anything like dumb. Don't do anything that's super like you're getting ripped off. Because I mean, you can trade him, but don't trade him for something that doesn't make sense.
Don't trade him for Cole Kmet just because Cole Kmet had 25 points last week. Maybe someone offers you Ferguson. I think Ferguson's like that's the guy. As low as I go.
Well, you always make trades with the new guy of the league. Okay, that's
I knew you'd go this route.
That's tactic number one.
Uh-huh.
He's new to the league. Maybe he's only played a couple fantasy seasons, and you're like, hey man, let me tell you something. Let me give you. This is where sales comes in. Like last year, I fleeced the newcomer of our league. I got Tyreek Hill for next to nothing for like Joe Mixon, and.
Mixon was good last year. RB,
sure,
top 5.
That's that's almost even. It's not that bad.
Well, I got 2 players out.
Well, let's talk to the friends of the show who are 1-2 or 0-3, and the kind of tweaking that they can do with their lineup when we get back. You're listening to 2 Men On 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
This report brought to you by the New Mexico Relations Department.
.9 FM and AM 610, the sports animal. Talking some fantasy football with the Gay Boys, Jared and Simon Gay, young Jake Cassio on the program today. Isaiah Johnson back at the studio. Of course, I am one Van Nunley. Fred Slow's out on assignment today. He's doing some reconnaissance missions, some very important research. He'll be back with us tomorrow. All right, Jared, Simon, what do you say to the guy who is 0-3, who is 1-2? What do they need to tweak? What direction should they be heading?
You know your team better than anyone else. Okay. I have teams that are good, teams that are bad. And if you believe in somebody, you hang on to them, but it might be time to make the big move. It might be time to give up 2 of your pretty good players to go land a guy top 2 or 3 at his position. Maybe you give up 2 guys you drafted kind of high. Ignore draft capital as much right now. You agree with that, Simon? Don't worry about it anymore.
Yeah.
And you might need to make the big splash. Maybe you go Kelsey and wide receiver and you land Amon-Ra because someone believes in the player. So you're trying to package maybe some underperforming guys, because if you get 0-4, you're going to get even more desperate. So, and you may just be battling injury. In that case, you just have to be patient, but don't just do the same thing over and over if it's not working. You got to make a change, whatever that may be for your team.
Are you reaching like on your bench to put a guy that probably wouldn't be in the starting lineup otherwise, but you got to replace this underperforming player? Would you rather have a fringe guy that's going to get the chances, or are you like an underperforming star?
No, it's like, the great example of that this week is Jawan Jennings.
Sure.
You find a team that has hurt players. Debo Samuel was hurt. Kittle left the game mid-game, but you couldn't really predict that. And then he scores 46 points. He was 11 for 175 and 3 touchdowns. It's not going to happen every week, but what you need to do when you have people that underperform is you need to find the waiver wire guys that are filling in for an injury or multiple injuries, like the Eagles. You're going to have to pay attention to that this week. Jahan Dotson might be a good ad. But, there's guys with opportunities every week because people get hurt. And those are the guys you need to try to get to replace. Dude, Brandon Ayuk's been bad.
Sure.
Garrett Wilson's been average. He's not horrible. Sam Laporta's been horrible. He got hurt, so made him even worse.
I feel so attacked by these guys. He's saying because I have all.
Those are like your early season targets.
Even Tony Pollard. First week you're like, all right, let's see what happens. Second week you're like, okay, we can play him now. And he comes out and gets 7 points.
What do you have, like a couple touches for like 30 yards?
Yeah, six carries for 14 yards after he had 82 and 62 yards. So stuff like that happens. You play a guy and then he does bad, and then you take him out and then he's probably going to score 20 points next week.
You can target guys who don't have the big names, and by that, the first guy I think of is Jaden Daniels. Huge name. If I had you rank fantasy quarterbacks, you probably wouldn't put him in the top 5. It's close. It's up for debate. And he's also a rookie. You can sell that to somebody who has him. It might even be their second quarterback on their roster. He's the number 2 quarterback in fantasy football. He's above Lamar Jackson. He's 2 points behind Josh Allen, depending on your scoring.
Yeah.
You tell me you're basically he's going to score just as many points as Josh Allen, barring injury, but that's the case for anybody. You go for guys with the name, and some people Alvin Kamara is the number 2 running back. Nobody would pay top 10 for him. And the team who has him knows that.
He was falling in every single draft I was in.
So maybe you go get him. Or maybe if you can cash in and sell him because somebody knows what we're saying. There's a lot of guys here who just don't have
even
the names.
mid names. Like even during the draft, James Conner was so he's like a 6th-round pick.
Yep.
He scored 5 points last week. Go get him. His schedule's not bad. He has Washington, San Francisco, which is bad, but Green Bay, Chargers, Dolphins, Bears, Jets are bad. But those are all great matchups. It's a guy you can go get after scoring 5 points. Maybe the owner's like, dang, that really sucked. He played the Lions. They're like the best run defense in the league. It's a guy you can go get.
He has no competition. They're going to give him the ball.
No, and Trey Benson's not getting the ball.
Is Alvin Kamara like the best sell high candidate right now?
I honestly would not sell him.
Just hang on.
If he's on your team, I'm keeping him because you got Derek Carr, who loves to dump the ball off, and Alvin Kamara is going to catch it every single time.
I think the last couple of weeks we've done this. We said sell Alvin Kamara.
Sure.
At what point is he no longer a sell?
You should have sold him last week after he scored 48, but now you keep him. He's going to score 20 every week.
He'll bring consistency.
Was he 100 points? 90 points?
Yeah.
At that point, he's going to do it again. Who's he got next week? He's going to kill Atlanta. He'll kill Kansas City. He'll kill Tampa. Denver, Los Angeles, Carolina, Atlanta. I mean, we're talking 2 months.
Soft.
He could
Super
be
soft.
which is just bizarre. He's got no competition. So I'd hold him if you can get him, because people are like, oh, dude, come on. He's old. He's not going to do that every week. You know, you do your sales pitch. Jake was saying, hey, it's time to be a salesman. I mean, don't necessarily always target the weak person in your league, but if you want to go that route, you'd be like, look, dude, he's got criminal problems. You got to give him to me.
And never do a trade through text message. You call who you're trading with. Okay. There can never be evidence. 2, you always make a phone call because you hook them in and you really pitch them. Like, I'm trying to get rid of Zamir White right now, and I'm making the pitch. Okay, well, Gardner Minshew just got benched. Aiden O'Connell's going to come in there. They're going to have to start running the ball a little bit more. Zamir White's going to be that guy. That offensive line is just getting better and better every week. They're not making business decisions. The defense is.
And if
I hope the guy that you're trading with is listening right now. Like, that would be amazing.
I hope so too.
if you're struggling to find guys, there's 2 guys that just came up this past week. Roschon Johnson for the Bears. He had 8 carries for 30 yards, 4 catches for 32 yards. It's like 11-ish points, depending on what your scoring is. DeAndre Swift sucks at football.
He looks awful.
Yeah, I got to get rid of him.
Dan Campbell came out and said he's soft before they let him go. That's like the worst insult you can get as a running back.
Sure.
If you're soft, you're trash. Your career's over. So Roschon Johnson's a good ad. And then Darnell Mooney. He had 8 catches for 66 yards on 8 targets.
I cannot believe how involved he is.
He caught every ball. Last week he was 3 for 88. He's got 2 good weeks in a row. And he's got Kirk Cousins throwing the ball, who looks better and better each week. And Kyle Pitts is going to keep getting pass interference in the end zone because he's big. Drake London is decent. But Darnell Mooney's quick, he's small, and he's going to run the underneath routes. He's a good guy. He's going to get targets. He's a good guy to add. I mean, if you're struggling there, pick him up.
He's good for at least 7 catches a game. At least.
So that's a crazy line to be like, somewhere between 5 to 7 catches. A guy like that, he's a deep threat, 50 to 80 yards. To find a guy who's going to give you 10 to 15 points as that fringe guy on your line that you're talking about, Van, who knows? Maybe he is more involved than Kyle Pitts all year. What Mooney's getting is like, that's what Kyle Pitts should be getting. But we're not NFL coaches. We don't decide that. So I know, Simon, those are spot on.
Honestly, a guy you can target is Jacoby Myers because there's a chance Devontae Adams gets traded after how he was playing last week because Pierce is not happy.
And his attitude
with that team.
Yeah.
He waited to go into the locker room.
Pierce is not happy.
Pierce seems like the guy that like players play for. He's like a rah-rah coach. He's been in the trenches. He's not just some guy with a playbook. Like, he's been in the trenches. Like,
he's a football player.
He knows how it is. He's a football guy.
He seems like a guy that'll, if you have a bad attitude, he'll hit you in the head with a helmet.
Sure.
Like Myles Garrett, just whack, just hit him in the head,
get him going.
But like seeing that performance and like seeing the effort from the Raiders like down the stretch, like that was embarrassing. It's embarrassing.
To Andy Dalton.
Sure.
And a horrible Panthers team.
You cannot talk crap about the Red Rifle, man.
As a Bills fan, we're lifelong Dalton fans.
I will always love Andy Dalton for the rest of my life.
Rifle.
Let's unpackage what's going on the waiver wire when we get back. Who are you targeting? Like, who are you avoiding? And what can help out your fantasy team? More fantasy talk when we get back. You're listening to 2 Men On 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
This
Welcome back, Duke City. Talking some fantasy sports on 2 Men On in the 5 o'clock hour. We're hanging out at the Duke's team store. Come get all of your merch, and as long as we're here, you get 10% off. Hell of a deal. All right, boys. Who are your waiver targets this week?
So I had already mentioned Mooney and Roshan Johnson. Those are two guys that are probably available in your waivers. Roshan for sure is because he hadn't played yet. He just got activated this week. I don't remember what his injury was, but
That's how bad the run game has been for the Bears. That they're like, let's put our third stringer in, and he's just he's the most efficient running back they've had this year.
well, he was actually good at Texas too. He's just behind Bijan Robinson. He still got drafted.
Right.
So
I think he was a 3rd round draft pick out of Texas the same year Bijan got drafted. Like, that's how good you are. Like, he got buried by Bijan and was still a day 2 pick.
and then I think Cole Kmet's a good pick.
Love him.
It's probably short term because if and when Keenan Allen comes back, he may not.
Right.
And he's struggling and he's old.
But I think it's going to be good for Caleb because rookies love the check down and the tight end safety net.
Also, they had Gerald Everett, who is connected to their offensive coordinator, and he is no longer his favorite target, or he's no longer his favorite tight end. He didn't really play. So Cole Kmet was 10 for 97 and a touchdown. That's not going to happen every week, but short term, I mean, he's a great ad, especially if you have you could play him over Kelsey if you really wanted to. They're playing the Rams, so it's going to be 2 bad teams playing each other.
Rams, Carolina, and Jacksonville next 3 weeks for Cole Kmet.
Yeah.
I absolutely do not.
And then you got Washington after the bye, and Washington's defense is atrocious.
I don't hate that. If Evan Ingram is out again, I really like Brenton Strange
Yeah.
from Jacksonville. Dude's an very athletic player. I'm trying to pull up his snap count.
One quick thing while he's looking at that, Bucky Irving, he was our ad 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
He had 3 points last week, and I think he may be available again.
Well, they just said he's going to get more carries too.
Yeah.
So this is the week. Rashad White has never been a good runner. He's a pass catcher. He can block.
Right.
And no one else had been there. This is why you saw like Keyshawn Vaughn hype a couple years ago because there was no one there. So I love that.
Rashad White is like Austin Eckler now. Can't run the ball, can just catch it.
What do you guys feel about Braylon Allen?
You got to hope for a Brees Hall injury.
Right.
Dude's so good. Youngest player in the NFL, 20 years old, rookie out of Wisconsin. So
he's getting carries.
What would have to happen for you to play Braylon Allen?
Absolutely nothing. I'm not playing him. It would have to be the worst thing possible, which is a Brees Hall injury, and I never want to see that. I never want to see that.
He's one of the best stashes because, God forbid, Brees Hall does go down. He's a super competent NFL running back.
Dude, he's 6'1", 235, and he's quick. I mean, he's not fast. He ran a bad 40, which is why he fell in the draft. But
he was big as like a 16-year-old in high school.
He's a beast. He's a beast. He was so good at Wisconsin, and then he even tweeted it himself. He's like, everyone passed on me in the draft because I wasn't fast in underwear. You put pads on him, and he runs people over and averages 5 yards a carry.
He's a tougher runner than Brees. They're the perfect combo. The Jets, if they continue to figure out, are going to be really solid. So back to Brenton Strange. We're looking at 68 and 70% of snaps with Ingram out. When Ingram was playing, he was at 30%, so he's basically blocking. Love Strange. To have 5 or 6 targets on a team that is struggling, and they're playing Houston in division, be a competitive game as much as we've been, pooping on the Jaguars. They're not a good team, but you can do worse. Now, like this is you playing Stranger, Travis Kelce. You're probably playing Kelce.
Are you adding Stranger? Or you adding Zach Ertz?
I would go Ertz.
Yeah,
over
I would
Strange.
too.
Because Strange is just a rental for a couple of weeks till Evan Ingram gets back.
Ertz is a rental too. He likes to play 6 good weeks and then he fades out for the backup.
There's a hammy coming. You know a hammy's coming.
PPR league, I'm going Ertz. Half PPR or standard league where you don't reward points. Strange can score and will have more yards. Ertz is not a red zone guy. You got Jane Daniels who will just run it in. And the running game there for Washington's been okay. But it depends on the league, but I'd probably go Ertz.
Don't add this guy now because he's too risky. But Eric All, he's on the Bengals. Dude was sick in college, is always hurt. If he starts going off during the season, you could add him. He had 9 and 8 points. Don't pick him up now. He's not going to be good now. But there's a chance that he blows up and becomes the 3rd target on the Bengals.
Juwan Jennings is only owned, depending on what league you're in, like 30 to 40% of the league. Is he the number 1 waiver wire target this week if he's available?
Yeah, he probably has to be. It depends on I guess you can get him either way, but it depends on what you need. If you need a guy to get you through the whole year, probably not. If you're going for if you have AJ Brown and he's hurt, you could add him and he can replace him for a week, maybe 2 weeks. Or if you have Debo, you pick him up.
Yeah.
Even when Debo and Kittle were both healthy, he had 11 points and 5 points. For a guy who's just an insurance policy, that's pretty. I mean, he is involved. He's out there half the time. And then if one of those guys go down, we just saw it. 46 points.
I also like Andre Iosivas or whatever, the wide receiver for the Bengals.
How do you say his last name?
Pretty sure.
Don't ask me.
I'm pretty sure it's Yosivas.
That sounds right. It's Yoshi.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Wide receiver number 31 right now.
He's 6'3", 210.
Played at Princeton.
Big dude. Yeah, he did play at Princeton.
Smart player.
And I'm surprised Quentin Johnson is still as available as he is.
Yeah.
It's because he was so bad last year.
John Harbaugh gave him confidence. It's all about confidence, man.
I swooped him up. Like he's the red zone target. Like Herbert will eventually come back and keep feeding him.
Keep an eye on it with Herbert out, and then they just lost Joe Alt, so they're going to get sacked a lot.
How long's Alt out?
I think he sprained his MCL.
Okay. If you can sell Johnston, I'm definitely looking at that. If he didn't score last week, we wouldn't have even mentioned him. We'd be like, wow, we wasted all that waiver money or priority on a guy like this. I do like him.
3 touchdowns in 2 weeks.
Yep. You got the Chiefs. Not a good matchup. Then the bye. And then Denver.
So you're pretty much benching him for 3 weeks.
There you go. And if Herbert's out, you're not playing him against the Chiefs.
You're not going to play him if there's no Herbert.
You're trying to sell. I would try to sell him.
Yeah, I don't see how you can play him against the Chiefs.
So give me a name. Who would you somebody offered you had Quentin Johnson and they offered you a player. You want Jaden Reed or Quentin Johnson?
Reed.
Oh, Reed for sure.
Okay. So
if you needed a tight end, you taking Fryermuth over Johnson? Are you trading
over Quentin Johnson?
Are you trading it for Fryermuth if you need a tight end?
Well, hopefully your team's good enough where Johnson's just a depth piece.
Yeah.
But if you need a tight end, you're gonna trade him for
not for Fryermuth because I think you can pick Fryermuth up.
He's consistent.
Quentin Johnson or Mark Andrews?
Oh my gosh, Mark Andrews has been so bad.
0 catches.
Dude, he disappeared.
1 target last week.
I don't even know what it is.
I would personally take Andrews.
I don't know if it's the injury or if it's the fact that
I think it's the connection, the chemistry.
Is that 33%?
Lamar likes Isaiah way more.
33% snap. I think it's his ankle, dude.
Okay.
I don't know, but I mean, I would still trade. I would trade John. You don't have Johnson on your team playing him. You have him because you picked him up or you drafted him in the last round. I would trade him for Mark Andrews.
I think an Andrews owner would do that.
Yeah.
No, Mark Andrews owner is looking and be like, yeah, 15 points in 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And he also played him last week, got 1 target and got 0 points.
Mark Andrews is Mark Andrews. He's getting paid. Something's off. But I try to cash in on Quentin Johnson.
It's the same thing with Pollard. They both broke the.
Well, he's not healthy, and they got a great insurance policy in Isaiah Likely. Like they don't have to put him out there hurt. So
and they're feeding the wide receivers way more than they ever have. And Derrick Henry's taking snaps away.
The funny thing about Likely is he didn't do anything. He had 1 catch for 4 yards. After he scored 31 points, he has like 6 points in two games.
Didn't they say that they were just gonna they did throw 15 passes. They ran it 45 times.
Derrick Henry to the moon.
Derrick Henry, man, I'm so glad that's working.
And they're throwing it to Zay Flowers and Rashad Bateman.
Yeah,
and Aguilar had 1 deep ball.
If you're in quarterback trouble, if you have a guy who's underperforming, are you looking at Sam Darnold? Like, would you play Sam Darnold?
Yeah.
Unless you got like Mahomes, Allen, Jackson.
Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield, which are available in a good amount of leagues, are probably the best 2 like lower, like higher end of that like 3rd tier quarterbacks. I'd probably say so. Like Darnold and Baker, or Geno. Geno's been great, I think. No, he wasn't that good. He had 18 and 18, which is, I mean, it's good for a
That's
fill-in.
fine. Yeah, that's fine.
Especially when the bye weeks start hitting in week 5, you're going to want to pick up Geno, Baker, and Darnold.
Darnold's the guy. I mean, if you got somebody throwing the ball to Justin Jefferson, you're picking him up.
And looking competent.
Yeah.
Are you what would have to happen for you guys to sit Mahomes?
Depends on who you can replace him with.
Sure.
I'd sit him right now.
Because 16, 14, 17, Simon, you just said every single guy you just mentioned has scored more points than Patrick Mahomes. Geno Smith, Sam Darnold. I mean, I think Justin Fields outscored him last week. So
I think that's going to go up, though. I mean, without Pacheco, Carson Steele and Samaje Perine aren't the answers at running back.
I don't think it's going to go up at all.
I don't think it's going to change.
Plays the Chargers. He's not going to have to do anything because Herbert's not playing. He plays the Saints.
Saints solid defense.
Saints will be decent. Then he plays the 49ers. He's going to get clamped.
There's a bye week in between there.
Yeah. And then he plays the Raiders, who are going to get after him because Max Crosby will be healthy by then. And he's got the Bucks, the Broncos, who will eliminate Rashee Rice because of Patrick Surtain. And then he's got Buffalo, which, I mean, their defense is playing great right now. And after that, the schedule's good. But
Van, would you trade him, Patrick Mahomes?
Oh, obviously, it depends on the offer.
Or is he that name where you're like not doing it?
Yeah, I mean, if you invested draft capital in Patrick Mahomes, he's got such a high floor.
It's not even
he doesn't need to
it's
be.
The fact that his name is Patrick Mahomes.
Sure, he doesn't have to be
Murray.
4 touchdown guy.
Kyler Murray, you want Mahomes?
Oh, Kyler Murray. I targeted Kyler Murray in all my leagues this year.
I'm taking a lot of guys. I'm
taking Jaden Daniels
for sure. That would probably be the best.
I'm taking Brock Purdy.
No.
If I have Mahomes,
I don't hate it.
I'm taking Brock Purdy.
Purdy's going to
He had
keep throwing
24
it
points last week
against the Rams. Yeah.
Rams defense is not great, but it's not bad.
You want Dak or Mahomes?
They're going to be the same the whole year. Probably Dak. He outscored him last year.
So as people are listening to this, and we're just rattling off a bunch of names, probably a little quickly. Realize that we're going in a vacuum 1-to-1. There's a 100% chance that you can get far more for Patrick Mahomes than what we just said.
Yes. Yeah.
It's Daniels and
Dak Prescott and T. Higgins.
Jaden Daniels and Zach Moss. Like, you can get a lot. You can get 2 guys on your team. You're 0-3, you got Patrick Mahomes, because I guarantee there's got a lot of owners out there. You took Patrick Mahomes in the 3rd round. He's got 48 points.
I'm 2-1 with my team with Patrick.
And if you could cash in on Mahomes,
I got good running backs.
So it's maybe you go Mahomes and one of your other lesser players, and you upgrade a different position because you know you can pick up a quarterback.
You could pick up Sam Darnold for free right now. Upgrade the rest of your lineup. Get rid of Patrick Mahomes.
The fact Darnold is good is the.
Or you can pick up Will Levis and love watching him make one ridiculous play again.
Yo, what are these things? The dude's a walking meme.
He's the most memeable back in the NFL right now.
With him Supermaning, flipping it for a pick, the hands on the head, and last week him just like the lineman just laying on top of him for the Packers.
Yeah, Will Levis might be the worst quarterback in football.
I could not believe any support. No, when it was Malik Willis versus Will Levis, I was actually a little shocked because I think Will Levis is a joke.
Yeah, I agree.
Dude, he was bad in college. You got
he couldn't beat Sean Clifford.
Beat out by Sean Clifford, who's a backup on the Packers, and he beat out Terry Wilson at Kentucky because Terry Wilson's just not good. I mean, he's playing the UFL now. I played with him at UNM. That's why I know that. But
I do not think Will Levis is one of the 32 best quarterbacks on the planet. You should not have a starting job. Yeah.
I'm throwing in what is he, 65 now? 65 years old? Yeah. Flacco's
dude, I think
he's got to be 39.
I think Cam Newton would be better than
Joe Flacco is 39, 6'6", 230. Dude's a unit. Got to put him in the game.
Give me PJ Walker or DTR.
Deep dive.
Definitely not PJ Walker.
Give me DTR. Give me DTR.
DTR probably play. Yeah.
Who had?
That would be
he
Dorian,
played one good.
Robbins.
Yeah, played one good half of one good game, and he's still saying his name.
Or I'm always going to be a Jameis Winston fanboy. He deserves to start, and he will be at one point.
The best thing about Winston is that Prize Picks half interception. You hammer that over every week.
Game, baby.
He got LASIK eye surgery. He's never had a chance after his eye surgery.
He's still going to be eating up in W's.
Yeah. He's getting paid to be a hype man.
Yo, he's 30 now? Holy crap.
Jameis?
Yeah.
Yeah, get him in there. That'd be awesome.
I'd love to see him. I'm not going to get him on my fantasy team, but I'd love to see him as the quarterback of the Cleveland Browns.
Well, Watson's about to get suspended again.
Oh, God, I hope so.
Was there another one who came out? Or is that the...
Yeah,
it's a new one.
The 25th or 26th one,
yeah.
I think.
But the Browns are the same one we talked about last week.
Yeah, she said
and this one has receipts this time.
So, bye-bye to all that money.
Dude. We wrap up fantasy talk when we get back. You're listening to 2 Men On 95.9 FM and AM 610, the sports animal.
This report is sponsored by Discover. Time with family lasts with.
Welcome back, Duke City. Listen to 2 Men On, 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal. Wrapping up fantasy talk, a little trade bait. Who are you guys like dangling in front of teams as trade bait, and who are your trade targets as of right now?
So I have a target because he's on my team, and I think there's no way he's worse. Garrett Wilson for the New York Jets. People paid high for him. Chances are they're 0-3 or 1-2, like myself. Has played a lot of good teams, and he's going to continue to get work. Now, I do think Rodgers is going to spread it around more than we thought, but I think you don't have to pay a steep price for him. I imagine you agree with that.
You could honestly wait one more week for him to get shut down by Patrick Surtain and then trade for him.
Yeah, smart.
He's going to have, I'm going to call it now. He's going to have like 2 catches for 33 yards. He's going to go 5.3 points.
All right.
The Mike Williams game?
Can we post my cell phone number in the channel and just let people come get Garrett Wilson from me? You're projecting 5 points for my guy? Okay. Let's get rid of him.
No, I'm saying get him after this week.
No, I know. But I don't want him if he's going to score 5 points this week.
I would go for Jacoby Myers. I think he's going to be a lot more involved. He had a good game this week, 21 points. So maybe it might be hard to get. Someone might try to be like, oh, well, he's the wide receiver 1 now. He's not. So don't pay that for him. But if you can get him for cheap, I mean, it's worth a shot. He's a great PPR wide receiver. He was really good last year. He was the wide receiver, if I could find it. What was he?
I think he was top 20.
He was the wide receiver 24. Okay. That's great. It's great to have. And if you can get him for cheaper than that, you can play him. You can probably play him every week.
You think Deontay Johnson is real?
Yep.
Is that a guy you're trying to steal off of somebody's bench and put him in your lineup?
Yeah. And with the red rifle, he's going to get some catches.
He did it with the Steelers. Every year, he's a top 20 wide receiver. Any year he didn't miss games. So good. I have had him for years, and this is what you needed. You know, it's either going to be him, Thielen, maybe Leggett, but no, dude. I mean, he's a good route runner. He's open, and now you have a guy who will chuck it. Dolan could throw over 300 every single week.
Hard agree.
Panthers do not care.
It's just standing in concrete. So if he gets the pressure,
yeah, sure.
Pretty bad.
I think Khalil is also a good trade bait option here too. He's gotten a lot of production in the last couple of weeks, and I think slowly he will lose the wide receiver 1 status.
So you're dishing out Khalil Shakir if you can.
Yeah, try to get some value out of him.
I do not hate that at all.
Yeah, I like that move.
I think you can sell Devontae Adams based on name. If the rumors are true, where they're just not happy with him. He was out there running sprints last game. 95% of snaps, he caught 4 balls.
No, he's jogging.
So he's maybe that's why they don't not throwing the ball. He's not
business decisions.
Yeah, a guy like that. A couple tough matchups coming up: Cleveland, Denver, Pittsburgh.
You could even try to trade away Chuba Hubbard. He had 32 points, but Jonathan Brooks is going to come back. He's not going to. I don't think he'll take the job right away, but he's going to carve into the carries for sure.
Hubbard is a guy where you're giving him up while he still has a lot of value, and you may hate it for 2 or 3 weeks. But if you can trade Chuba Hubbard, let's say you land Jamison Williams.
Or even Jacoby Myers.
Even Jacoby Myers. You're like, okay, short term, I'm going to lose some value here. It's worth it. You have to understand it's going to be really hard to trade guys unless you're like Jake and you just rip everybody off. To trade guys who have no value, you're going to have to give something up. It's like I listened to the Oakland A's today, and they're like, the owner needs to pay money if he wants to make money. It's the same situation here. You're going to have to give something up to get something in return.
A guy I targeted really heavily in drafts was Jalen Waddle. If he's not on your team already, you trying to scoop him up on the cheap, or is he toast without Tua?
How cheap? Give me a name.
Somebody on the bench. Somebody you're not playing.
You trading Hubbard for him?
I keep Hubbard.
You would take Hubbard over Waddle?
I would take Waddle because I think Waddle will be better down the road.
Okay, I take it back. I changed my mind. There was another one.
If you're going to trade for Waddle, he's not going to be good right away. You have to know that when you're getting him, that it might take a few weeks for them to either get another quarterback, for Tua to come back, or just
Devin Singletary or Jalen Waddle.
Singletary.
I'd go Waddle.
Okay.
That's a good stash for later. I still believe in him. And I think Tua's not going to take his doctor's advice, and he's going to come back and play football again.
Zay Flowers or Jalen Waddle?
Zay.
Jalen,
5 points.
Jalen Waddle.
Probably Jalen Waddle.
Yeah, I'm taking Zay.
I think it's close. Granted, Baltimore didn't throw the ball a lot last game. Rashid Shaheed or Jalen Waddle?
Waddle.
That is our fantasy hour, boys. When we get back, Sports World Roundtable as we preview the MLB postseason. More football talk in the next hour and all your sports and sports adjacent content. 2 hours in the books, 1 to go. You're listening to 2 Men On, 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Clear.
That's something you get it back to,
1 hour to go on the program. Hope you got all of the fantasy expertise in the past hour from the Gay Boys.
We do our best. At the end of the day, we all don't know where we're all guessing.
A lot of speculation. A lot of
big time,
speculation.
big
Not an exact science.
No.
But hopefully you got that edge every Tuesday talking
takes
fantasy
is a name or
sports on the
two.
program.
That's all it takes. Just 1 or 2 names.
It's been so much fun to be able to talk about fantasy. I mean, the best way to learn it's been, it's talking about. We're going through these things and deep diving the stats farther than we ever would. So just know, friends of the show, that we enjoy doing this. If we're wrong, I'm sorry. It's the same guesses that we're putting out there, and we're all pretty good at this.
I was legit super wrong about Malik Neighbors. He is a dude.
Gosh, I know.
He is
No one touched him in any of my drafts.
Well, because of Daniel Jones. I mean, like, you can only bet on the receiver so much when the quarterback is can't even throw a screen pass without it being a pick six. But I'm just happy. I looked at Daniel Jones. His completion percentage was pretty high. I'm just happy for his own mental. Like, now I know he's doing okay because it was going pretty bad for him. And I was wondering how he was handling that part.
No, with the highest rated passer in the NFC East, Daniel Jones. That Daniel Jones, the same one.
Well, Dak leads the league in yards. Okay. Just throw a little fun fact out there. Not a very hard year to do that.
Doesn't lead the league in record.
Heyo.
No, he does. He does not.
What are they? Are they 1-2 or 2-1?
1-2.
They're 1-2.
Zay, are you doing okay, bro? Daniel Jones might be in a better mental state than you are.
All jokes aside, it definitely feels weird. It feels weird because usually if Dallas is having this happen to them, it's because they're underperforming rather than they might actually be in trouble. And it sucks because, again, as a Cowboy fan, this wasn't one of those off seasons where Cowboy fans are running around saying that we were going to the Super Bowl or that we were the best team in the league. Because before, we usually felt we had a reason to believe the potential. But, I mean, we begged for a guy all off season. And not only did we not get Derrick Henry, we didn't get anybody to stop a Derrick Henry. So it's just all Cowboy fans feel pretty let down. And Jerry's been answering some questions earlier today. He claims that he finds it completely fair and he accepts that all the fans blame him and that he understands. And it's just like, we've given up on him at this point. We just given up. He knows, he understands why we're upset. And he just doesn't care.
Well, it seems like Jerry has a measurement that he's more concerned about than some of these football
good one.
Football ones.
It's like having Joe Biden as your team owner. You just know he's pretty much done. So just waiting for him to be done.
He checked out years ago. He just cares about the bottom line.
Right.
That's how I really felt about him. But like, what's crazy, I know Van and Fred weren't able to make it to it. Jake, I don't know if you did, but did you see his interview, Jared, with Stephen A. Smith?
No,
did not.
So yeah, he has a 1 hour long sit down with Stephen A. And Stephen A., like, of course, he asks him all the questions that like all the fans have been wanting to ask him. Like, so why didn't you get Derrick Henry? Why'd you wait so long for CeeDee Lamb? And this interview was like a couple days before he signed Dak Prescott. But Jerry made a lot of it sucks how much sense he made in his interview, but it would make a lot more sense, say, if we were the Bengals or another team who's had success and is very, very close to having success by looking towards the future. And for him, it's like, Jerry, we don't want to hear you talk about 5 years from now because we don't know if you're going to be here. And
Sure.
we've waited 30 years. So we're not trying to wait 30 more years, number one. But he's thinking about 3 years down the line, man. Like, he's taking this as if it's the long game. So I don't think the urgency is there for Jerry.
They're no different than how you're describing that is like the Bills. I mean, if the Bills don't hit big with a wide receiver early in the draft or sign somebody, maybe like T. Higgins next offseason, it's like, what are you waiting for? This is the whole thing. I mean, you got rid of Diggs. Money's going to be there next offseason. I think we can move on from Vaughn if we want to and save a lot of money.
We got 10 picks. Bills got 10 picks next year. So
it's go time.
Yeah.
What does that your whole offseason this year? Why didn't you get Derrick Henry? You replaced it with Zeke, Rico Dowdle, and Deuce Vaughn. As much as my love for Deuce, that I have,
and the ghost of Dalvin Cook.
That's what I'm saying. So,
Dalvin.
Can we just we're gonna be feeling the exact same thing. You should have. Yeah, I mean, you can only pay so many people, but if next up is Micah Parsons, dude,
he's gonna be walking.
Him.
And that's the issue is that Jerry, in his mind, he's accounted for Micah in his mind. He's deals like that. He claims that's what he meant when he said we're all in. He says that meant as we're all in on re-signing our players. And we're thinking, but the players you're wanting to re-sign, they're all near their peak. Like Micah can only get so much better. CD he can produce better, but how much better of a receiver can CeeDee Lamb become at this point? And then same with Dak Prescott. And he claims he couldn't afford Derrick Henry, but it's his fault he couldn't afford Derrick Henry, because had CD and Dak had their deals done earlier in the offseason,
Right,
we would have been able to afford Derrick Henry. But even then, we didn't even call him to try to work out a deal. We just let him go. So not only did we not get him, he took that as a slap in the face, which is why he slapped our defense in the
and ran
face.
it down your throat.
Yeah, and it's at least put out an effort. Show your fans that you care. So when you start hearing things like Derrick Henry didn't even get a phone call, that's when the fans, we got to start looking at not buying merchandise, not going to the games. Like, we got to do something, because we've been as verbal and vocal as we can be, and he doesn't care still.
Well,
If
Jerry
you're-
don't trade either. You don't make trades ever.
He does nothing. Amari Cooper, I was going to say, that's the last time the season has felt like this. It was the season we traded for Cooper, and then we got Cooper, and everything turned around. I don't think that can happen this season unless we get rid of our head coach.
Well, I mean, hard agree there. Yeah, he's the most mid coach. He's the Kirk Cousins of coaches. He's so belligerently average.
He's taking coaching advice from 2 men on.
As one should.
Yeah.
Look, if your Cowboys are sitting 2-1 instead of 1-2, like, you're happy right now.
No.
If they only lost to the Ravens, like, which is a better football team, you're happy about that. If they don't run into the juggernaut Saints of week 1 and 2, like, you're happy right now.
I can't say so all the way, because I mean, it depends on the way we win the game. Like, say we pull out that win versus Baltimore, I wouldn't have been moved at all, because historically Dallas does that. I mean, even before Dak, that's just what Dallas does. And especially with Dak, at least Tony used to come out of the gate sometimes. Like, he'd at least put 7 points up before he would start throwing his picks or something. But Dak will have us going into the fourth quarter with no points. And then all of a sudden, he starts doing what everybody at home has been screaming to do, or at least the whole team does, the whole offense did. And then you just score 25, however many points it was, 23 touchdowns, 2 touchdowns in 1 quarter, but you go the whole game scoring no touchdowns. And
well, when the Ravens are playing prevent defense with their backups just to run the clock out, like, that's garbage time points. Like, they got dominated.
It's true. But McCarthy as a coach, you can tell that until he takes too long to panic. He doesn't want to throw the game plan out the window. So we could be down 14-0, and we're still calling the stupid little bootlegs on first down that only got us 2 yards the first time we ran it. And we're still going to pull that same bootleg play out to our fullback on 3rd and 10 that, even if it's complete, would only get us 2 yards. Like, those are things where a coach goes in a game like, these are the plays we're going to run, and he takes too long to get off of that playbook. Then when the end of the game comes, he starts throwing the ball downfield. We find success. We find holes in the defense. And then it was too little, too late. And that's always the case in Dallas. So I'm happy we lost. And I don't know how far we can go anyways, but I need McCarthy out of there.
I didn't think I'd hear those words.
Yeah.
Happy we lost from you.
Yes,
I mean,
because we didn't deserve that win. We had too many penalties in the first drive, just awful defense. We didn't deserve that win. And it's time to get Mike out of there.
There's just not a leader on that team
at all. I mean, in the players, there's too many leaders, if that makes sense. There's too many leaders. You got Lawrence and Micah Parsons. They're beefing big time. No one realizes it, but I can see it. I've been in a D-line room, and I tell you one thing DeMarcus Lawrence hates. When Micah Parsons goes out and publicly says, oh, I'm the leader of the defense, or this year I've been given the keys, or I'm really taking on my role as the leader. DeMarcus Lawrence is like, hold on. I'm a veteran. I've been here a long time. I've put up some good stats. You're not just the leader of the team. And Micah's like, yeah, I am. Look at my stats. And they're beefing about it. And
well, Micah's just ready to go play with his best friend, CJ Stroud. And that Bleacher Report show is going to be so much better.
I'd rather that than Philly.
Who do the Cowboys have to lose to make McCarthy, like, actually on the hot seat? Is it next week?
The
Giants?
Next week.
If they lose to the Giants, like, he's like officially on the hot seat, right?
Well, yeah, as far as the Cowboy fans, which obviously doesn't matter until we're ruining Jerry's money, he's already on the hot seat. I mean, me personally, he's been on the hot seat ever since I realized he can't coach a team to stop having so many penalties. But we got the Giants. if we lose the Giants and then the Steelers, he's going to be on the hot seat because after that, we got the Lions and the 49ers.
Yeah, Lions, 49ers, Falcons, Eagles, Texans. Like
I
that's
think
that's a
if
bunch
it's
of
bad,
L's in a row right there.
If they lose to the Texans, he's gone.
If we lose all those games in a row, oh yeah, he's out of there. And Brandon Vogt made a great point. He's only done it one time, and that's when they got rid of Wade Phillips, and then Jason Garrett came in. But the season was cooked at that point. Romo was hurt actually when he made that switch out, but Garrett came in and went 5-1. So, you know, he's seen that it can work. I want Belichick. I want Belichick in Dallas.
I mean, and this is also like based on the presumption that Jerry Jones will make the right decision. Like if McCarthy loses 4 in a row in the middle of the season, like that's Jerry's guy. Like if he has to fire McCarthy, that makes him look like an idiot because that's Jerry's guy. And he has to save face. Like he's done this forever with his personnel decisions and his front office decisions. He leans into it until it's too late.
Do you think that Bill Belichick could even have that role? Like, you know, Jerry just wants a, you know, puppet. Someone's going to listen.
That's why he didn't get hired or didn't even.
Exactly. So, like, I think Bill would be great there. And if, like, the Bills were doing poorly and Sean McDermott was gone, I would want Bill Belichick too. So I get that. But a guy like Jerry Jones, who has to be the center.
Mm-hmm.
When you said the coach for a second there, I forgot who the coach of the Cowboy was. The Cowboys. And that's what Jerry wants. Because he wants to be the coach.
And you do make a great point. Now, this would be, if we were to get Belichick, it would be a matter of situation. It'd be like one of those things where, remember the Lakers a couple years ago and they went and got Carmelo and all these different players where it's like, if these guys were in their prime,
right,
it'd be something serious. I think this is one of those situations where Bill Belichick he didn't have a coaching job. It's not like he wasn't looking for one. He was looking for one. He didn't get hired. So that alone and him having, like, he's doing a good job on TV, but let's be honest, we saw him his whole career. He's having to really step out of his shell and like swallow his pride to even be on camera and talk as much as he's talking. So the fact that he's even able to do what he's doing as well as he's able to do it, that gives me a sign that he not only would be willing to take a step back as far as wanting control of everything, and he would just be happy to be the coach of the Cowboys, have a unit who he keeps saying they have enough talent to turn this thing around. You know, when you ask him about it, week to week, he's saying Dallas has got a good team, and he's hinting that they need better coaching. So he believes he could step in and do it. And Jerry, I mean, how long are you going to be, you know, stubborn about it?
Forever.
Very rarely
the grave.
he will swallow it.
I think the time has just passed, though, for guys like that. That's why Nick Saban retired. It's a whole new era of football player and a whole new era of football.
And you're right. But in Dallas, we don't need Belichick to be a genius. We just need somebody to look at the team and look at the talent they have and say, on Sunday at 1 p.m., all you guys are going to be at your best. Like, I just need you guys to play your best.
The Cowboy way.
Yeah, just do what you did in practice. And practice is the biggest thing. He would shift the whole culture because practice wouldn't be fun anymore. I bet practice for Cowboys is fun. And if it's not fun, it's because they're losing. So, like, none of them are happy. But they don't have a hard, tough practice. You can tell they don't. Like, they're not – when they have a false start in team drill or an offside or something, it's just, oh, okay, we got to watch that, and you run the next play. Like, no coach is coming off the sidelines losing his cool because of the penalties. Bill Belichick is not going for that type of deal. And Van, I know you said when I said this before, they're grown men, but they have way too much freedom the day before game day. A lot of NFL teams, they have their players stay in hotels. There's team activities, something you can do to keep people locked in. The Cowboys are just free game. Like,
they're too comfortable. Football is a game of pain.
Yes, they're way too comfortable, and they need to be uncomfortable. And
it's that training facility, that whole practice facility. It's too luxury.
They're all living like Travis Kelce.
Well, it's like, Keon got benched for being late to a meeting. There was a baseball player for the Nationals, CJ Abrams. You guys may have talked about him. He got sent down to AAA. He's been the starting shortstop the whole year.
Stud.
He came in the Juan Soto trade. He's the future of that team. And 2 games left in the season. He's out at the casino in Chicago until 8 a.m. 8 a.m. at the casino is wild on game day. And he got sent back down, right down to AAA. And it's not easy. That's not a good decision because you can only send guys up and down so many times in baseball. So you're doing that to a legit superstar in the making.
Oh yeah.
But like that's setting the tone, man. Imagine Dak's out week 17, season over, and they're like, "Nah, you're gonna sit week 18 because you were out, messing around."
Yeah.
Would that ever happen? Like you're saying, it's cushy, it's luxury.
It would never happen.
The hardcore teams where you have like coaches like Dan Campbell, dude. Never.
And another thing with Mike McCarthy, I was listening to he was talking to the press, and they asked him about the discipline and the fighting on the sidelines, and he's like, "Oh well, I don't police fights off the field and on the field." And it's like, no, he said, "I don't referee fights on and off the field."
Oh yeah, he's too slow to even get to it.
Number one, yes. But
the only fat coach that's good is Andy Reid, and that's because he's old.
But for Mike McCarthy, what do you mean you don't referee the fights on and off the field?
It's your job.
You're the head coach.
You're the head coach.
What Nick Sirianni? What happened? I mean, his D-line, they've got the most personality out of any position group in the whole NFL, and you might be able to take different people from different teams, and you still can't put together a personality group like the Eagles D-line. And who's the first person in Jalen Carter's face who's 6'6", 285, 300 pounds, who's superheated? Who's
security
the first guy?
dom?
Him and Nick Sirianni. But Nick Sirianni's always in the middle, and like when Carter's trying to turn his face, Sirianni's like walking with him, like, "No, look at me, calm down." When CeeDee Lamb and these other guys are throwing tantrums on the sideline, McCarthy's not doing anything. The only people that are stopping the other players are other players, which then creates a toxic environment. So it's got to be a coach to do this. There is no excuse for CeeDee Lamb pouting, the Micah Parsons arguing on the sideline. All that is a reflection of terrible head coaching from a discipline standpoint. Go be the offensive coordinator. I'm cool with that.
All right, so get ahead of it and fire him now is what you're saying before you take 4 L's in a row in the next 5 weeks.
Can you imagine a 1-4 Dallas Cowboys?
I can. I very much can.
No, I mean, just like what that's going to be like.
Or like probably 2-6. They'll probably beat the Giants and then lose 4 in a row.
And they're still going to believe that they got a chance.
It's America's team, dude.
Yeah.
It's America's team.
Again, I tell you what, if they're healthy and Dallas is 2-6, Jerry will be, because we really haven't seen him in that position. Like, unless there was a hurt quarterback or something, but in a long time, we haven't seen the Cowboys just be bad while healthy. So Jerry is going to make some type of move, I believe, if we're losing like that. So let's go Giants.
And that was Zay Johnson's Cowboy Corner, coming to you almost every day on the program. when we get back, a little bit of MLB postseason preview. There's some hot races going down the stretch, and we'll clue you in to those when we get back. You're listening to 2 Men On 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal.
This message.
Welcome back to 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal. My favorite time of the year is fastly approaching. It's almost playoff baseball,
Oh,
baby.
we're right there.
All those sweater seasons.
Yummy. Oh, you thought I was talking about hoodie weather?
Same thing, right?
A little bit. Depends on how good the baseball is.
And the location.
Yeah.
Most of the divisions are pretty locked up, but the wild card is up for grabs in both leagues. We'll start off with the AL. Yankees are pretty comfortably in the lead in the East. Same thing for the Cleveland Guardians and Houston Astros. Houston Astros are going up against the second place Seattle Mariners, trying to make it interesting with 6 games left. But the real races are who's going to get into the wild card. Baltimore Orioles are 4 games up on the Detroit Tigers, Kansas City Royals, and Minnesota Twins. Seattle Mariners in striking distance, as are the Red Sox. Very unlikely that the Tampa Bay Rays can sneak in, and the Rangers and the rest of the league are out of it.
Are you saying the White Sox don't have a chance?
I mean, they could turn it around.
You never know.
In a decade.
But the AL wild card is really interesting. I mean, the Tigers, Royals, Twins, and Mariners, they're all right there. You could have a 6-game lose streak for the Tigers, and they're out. And it's really situational baseball right here, right now.
I did not expect the AL Central to be this strong.
No.
I thought the only team to get into the playoffs would be the one who won the division.
Yeah. And I knew it was going to be the Guardians. But the Twins?
Same. The upstart Tigers, the young Kansas City Royals, the Minnesota Twins, who kind of blew it down the stretch. But the AL Central is representing this year, and I did not see that coming.
Yeah, it's gonna be a fun wild card, and I'm really just excited to see who gets paired up with the Yankees so they can take them out in the first round.
I would love that so much. I mean, Yankees got some sluggers, but like beyond Garrett Cole, their pitching is very suspect.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I mean, you know how October baseball is. Like, it's cliche and it's watered down, but literally anything could happen.
And October baseball in New York is very different. It's cold.
Sure,
it's very cold. You're not a Southern team, and then the only advantage you have is if you have a West Coast or a Southern team coming to play you there. But other than that, you're in the elements, and sure, you're getting comfortable with the weather, but hitting a baseball in 40-degree weather is very different.
You take one off the handle, that stings every time.
That might be breaking it.
Sure.
Yeah.
In the National League, the Dodgers, Phillies, and Brewers are pretty comfortably in the lead in their division. San Diego Padres are within striking distance of the Dodgers, but they got to pull off a miracle with only 6 games left. Those very same Padres are in control of the wild card, being followed by the New York Mets and Arizona Diamondbacks, and the Atlanta Braves trying to sneak in at the last minute. And your Metropolitans, Jake, are going up against the Braves
right
with
now.
Their playoff lives on the line.
Yeah, we got a 3-game series against them. Just started. The Mets are playing hot ball right now. And, it's awesome to see Shohei have his 50-50 season. But it infuriates me as a Mets fan because Francisco Lindor is having an MVP year. And if Shohei wasn't in the equation, it would be Lindor with hands down. He deserves it. He's put the team on the back. And they're playing lights out. Our pitching is whatever. I mean, who cares? As long as if the Mets can hit the ball, they're going to have success, even if the other team is putting up 10 runs against them because the pitching is inadequate. The Mets will find a way to win.
I mean, speaking of finding a way, the Braves find a way every year, decimated by injuries all year, and they're still within striking distance. That's so much to be said about their organization, top to bottom, to where they could lose their 2 best hitters and their best pitcher, some other bench pieces, and they're still competing and they're still in the race. Like, that's a deep organization. It's impressive seeing what they're doing.
Yeah, that little 6-week run where the Braves were plagued with injuries was the time for the Mets to step up their game and move up, and they did it, and they just got to keep it and maintain it.
The Mets had a chance earlier in the year to really put their stamp on the division while the Phillies were struggling, and they just couldn't pull away, and now they're in a position to where they might get booted out of the playoffs as Atlanta has a 3-0 lead over the Mets right now in the bottom of the fourth, and they're only a game and a half back.
As a Mets fan, I never thought we would be in this predicament. Like, I thought the Mets were going to maybe win 40 games. It was looking dark and bleak.
How about the Rockies? How are they? They in the playoffs?
The Rockies are the
Is that a joke,
team.
or are you really asking? The Rockies are going to be up against it for a cool minute, my friend.
But they're not worse than the White Sox.
No one is.
Okay.
The White Sox are literally one loss away from being the worst team in modern baseball history. One loss away. I believe they have White Sox have 4 or 5 left. Let me see here.
Are they tied right now, or they're going to be tied?
White Sox have 6 games left.
Oh gosh,
1 L. They have to go 6-0 to only be tied for the worst team in baseball history.
So they're tied currently. Oh, those poor guys. Those poor guys.
They'll probably lose all 6. Like, I would have dialed it in a long time ago if I was those guys.
You see in the chat where I put their Twitter page. They don't even tweet the score anymore. They just John Madden quotes.
Yeah, the team had more runs.
Yeah. The final score can be found on the website.
Yeah, that one was so good. I feel bad for some of these guys on the White Sox, coming from winning programs or, having high school and college success and then having to play in a situation like this. Like, that could make your love for baseball just disappear.
So I'm still new to baseball. So help me out here. If you were to just drop Shohei Ohtani on this team at the start of the season, do they still break the record for the most losses? Are they close to breaking that record still? Or are they is that like worth 10 to 15 wins?
They might have 20 to 30 more wins.
Nah, they'd have like 8 more wins.
If Shohei's pitching, sure. But this season, it was tough.
Like, you mentioned like poor guys on the White Sox, like Miguel Vargas was traded at the trade deadline from the Dodgers. Like, he's on one of the best teams in baseball, and he has to go to the White Sox of all teams. Like, this poor human being. I pity him so much.
But it's been a fun baseball season, and I think the rule changes really made baseball a lot more entertaining for a fan's perspective, for new fans to get into the game, watching from TV. And the runs have been up, and that's exactly what Rob Manfred wanted, and he got the job done. But I will put a little asterisk next to Shohei's stolen base thing because the bases being a little bigger.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like that 4 inches makes a difference.
Huge.
Giga. The San Diego Padres have been on fire the last couple of months. They're 40-16. They were 50-50, dead even.
And their pitching staff is awesome.
Yes. They're legit good top to bottom, and they're getting hot at the right time. I really like the Padres making some noise in the playoffs. And plus, best jerseys in baseball. You got to root for them.
Yeah, it's hard not to. And the Diamondbacks too, like they had a great year last year, and they figured it out. They bounced back. They're young, and they're still in the hunt. And I think how the NL wildcard race is set up right now is how it's going to end. I don't see the Braves or the Cardinals or Cubs moving up.
Well, the Braves are about to catch a game on your Mets right now.
It ain't over till it's over.
That's okay. Fair point.
Yeah.
So if you're a fan of a team who's just doing god awful, like in the NFL draft, you can hope that you guys hit on a QB or something. As a White Sox fan or just a fan of a terrible team, so is it just completely like what example would somebody have to say, oh, we might be able to turn this thing around in 1 year because remember that team did it. Remember that team was super awful. And then they got this guy and made this trade. Like, is there an example of a team that has done anything close to what Chicago would have to do or a terrible team would have to do? Like,
sure. Good question, actually. The Astros and the Cubs are both the examples for the class. They 100% on purpose tanked for like 5 years in a row.
Oh, so it really
just stockpiled. Oh, it takes a long time in baseball.
Way long.
Because
it's not a 1 year turnaround.
Yeah. You can't just like draft Jaden Daniels and he turns your team around. Like you're drafting like 17 and 18-year-old kids who like need to mature for like 3 or 4 years. So
like
not only do you have
Paul
to get
Skeens, it was starting games so early this year is such an outlier.
Yeah. You're right.
Like
You're
that
very
does
right.
not happen. You sit in the minors for a while. Chris Bryant and the guy on the Phillies, Bryce Harper, they played in the minors for a bit before they moved up.
Right. Juan Soto, like they came up super early, but they still, got their reps in the minors. Like most guys are in the minors for 4 to 5 years. So unless the White Sox like literally buy every free agent,
if they have a $500 million payroll,
the next 3 off seasons, it's going to take them 5 years to be competent again.
So I do know, like you said, with Jaden Daniels or something, I know like an NFL team, you can turn it around by getting a guy like that, but you can also ruin something great by getting rid of somebody like that. So did they get so I would assume that you have to gradually over the years get this bad and put yourself in this deep of a hole, or can things just happen that fast and you're like within a year and a half, you're like, oh crap, we just ruined everything.
I mean, some things are intentional with baseball.
Like, is it like
you can realize like, okay, but this is not the team. We're going to get rid of our talent like Jose Abreu, Dylan Cease.
Yeah.
All those guys, they're studs. They were playing on the White Sox, but ownership knows.
This is a White Sox team that was in the playoffs 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So they chose this.
Ownership has a much bigger impact in baseball than any other sport.
Agree.
So they chose this. Not like literally to break the record, but they chose to go through this period where they had to rebuild.
3 years ago, they didn't.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's just a series of unfortunate events that they had players underperform. They had players like age out of their prime. They had players get hurt and never came back to
prospects that don't pan out.
Yeah, prospects that don't pan out.
It's crazy. I remember, what was it, 3rd grade, walking into school, had no idea. I was living in a suburb of Chicago at the time with my mother, and I walked into class and I had no idea why the hallways were just going insane. And everyone's like, the White Sox won the World Series. I'm like, what's that mean? What does that even mean? But yeah, whatever year the White Sox won that World Series, I remember everyone was talking about some guy making an awesome catch.
Well, the Orioles, they're a perfect example of turning it around.
Sure.
Like what you asked. Like they were the laughing stock of the league there for a while. They were down bad. But they got the prospects, and they got just a room of a bunch of white guys that all look the same that play really good baseball.
Yeah, it
and
looks like they're
like
cloned.
the youngest team. Yeah.
Sounds like Colorado Mesa.
Oh, that's funny.
Colorado Mesa is like an MLB team playing in college. No, they're more of a D1 team playing D2.
And baseball is a weird sport because you can get high school athletes.
Yeah.
So it's about how those guys pan out. But then if you're going to be a baseball player in college, you got to wait until after your junior year. You got to be 3 years removed from your start date with college.
Okay.
So you can either get somebody that's really young and just kind of gamble on them and put them in the minors and let them sit there for 3-4 years, or you can try to get a guy that's going to be doing it for a year or two and then move him up.
I just feel like in a situation where the rebuild takes that long, you would just do anything you can to not let it get this bad. Like, don't let it get this bad because it's going to take years and years. Again, like I bring up credit a lot for analogies, but it's like, don't max out your cards if you're not going to be able to get your score back up for a little while. So you should do everything you can to not let it get so bad. I think it's a reflection on how bad their front office could actually be.
Well, the product on the field is what sells tickets, and that's a big part of the revenue stream and being able to have the money. But you can't max out your card and put your whole future of owning this team to try to turn it around and just get stars. So you're playing bad baseball. Not people aren't watching. Therefore, you have way less money to spend, and then you're playing money ball.
Yeah, I forgot it's not salary cap like NFL.
You can pay whatever you want.
Sure.
Because if it was NFL was like baseball, Dallas would be swimming in championships. So now I see. So that's why the Yankees they should always be relevant then in that case. And they should never be terrible because Yankees fans are going to the games.
Yeah, I mean Yankees and Dodgers, like they spend more money than anyone every year.
Yeah, I mean the Mets last year had the highest payroll in baseball and did nothing with it.
That sucks. That honestly kind of sucks for the smaller market teams. That the teams who bring in more money can spend more. I don't know if there's any other sport where that's just allowed.
But there's a new trend now. You can't buy a World Series championship anymore. You used to be able to,
right?
But now it's all about the farm system and your prospects. Like that's why we're seeing, the Orioles come up, the Tigers right now. Like that's the new trend. And all the Rangers, they didn't buy their team. and they won the World Series last year. It's all about development now.
Well, they bought their middle infield, but like besides that, it was all development.
Yeah. You know, like the Dodgers and the Yankees bought their whole team.
Right.
They don't have prospects. Except for like Julio Urias, who's still 19 years old.
Right. Yeah. Who might never make it to the bigs.
Okay. The more you know. I'm learning more every time we talk about baseball.
So I could school you, baby. Baseball's my favorite, all-time favorite. Not even close.
Imagine me not knowing and then doing the play-by-play with Fred, putting the all the stuff in the system. And you know Fred, so he's just like, "Hey, did you get that last play?" I'm like, I think so.
Well, that's basically just me and Fred doing hockey. Like,
not understanding icing.
Fred would ask me, he would see that I put like a double in or like a 6-3-2 or I don't know, whatever that, I forgot what it means already, but I had to put something like that.
That would be shortstop to the first baseman to the catcher for some reason. Yeah.
I mean, it's possible.
But yeah, I would put something like that in. He'd be like, did you get that last one? Be like, yeah, can you double check it for me? I just look at him and see his face. I'm like, I did it wrong. God dang. Just tell me what I did wrong so I can go fix it rather than me have to go look. But I learned baseball super fast just from that and doing the play-by-play and stuff.
They just made baseball complicated for no reason with all these stats.
Oh, I love it so much. I love it so much. Give me all the stats. Give me all the sabermetrics. Give me all of the weird stuff that you can't even pronounce, like what it is. Like I love absolutely all of it. More sports and sports adjacent content when we get back. 2 more segments of 2 Men On. Full show all the way up to 7 today. You're listening to 95.9 FM and AM 610, the sports animal.
Dirty Boys, fill in the holes. Albuquerque's newest and, well, only golf show is on 95.9 FM and AM 610. The sports
we still have 2 segments, right? So we need one more commercial break.
And
yeah, but this one's gonna get you back at like 50, and then the back time's at 56. So if you want, I can combine these 2 commercials, or you can just go and you can skip the second segment as the second commercial break.
Yeah, let's just do two shorties. Yeah.
Okay.
And start learning Spanish fast.
With Babbel, you can start having conversations in another language in just 3 weeks.
¿Cómo te llamas? ¿Cómo te llamas?
When you learn a language, you want to actually use it. Babbel is designed with that goal in mind.
In just 3 weeks, we're starting to have conversations in Spanish. Gracias, Babbel.
Babbel, language for life. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. That's Babbel.com.
Progressive knows when you own a boat, life on land, a tough sell.
Come on down to Land, where you can do things like clean your gutters, pay tolls, and even get the wrong thing you ordered. We got it all. Potholes, people talking at the movies, and don't forget about flat tires when it's raining. It's Land.
Life on a boat is way more relaxing, so customize your coverage with Progressive, America's #1 boat insurer. And relax, knowing you got the coverage you need. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates, #1 rating based on 2022 boat market share data from ratefilings.com.
Casino at the Downs hosts Fall into Cash Monday through Friday, paying $3,600 each weekday. Plus, random promos daily, live horse racing, great dining, and so much more. It's winning entertainment daily, only at Casino at the Downs, Louisiana and Central. The Crown Room inside Casino at the Downs and a 5-time Best of the City winner invites you to elevate your fine dining experience. Enjoy unique dining selections, great wines, or your favorite cocktails in elegance. For the best in fine dining, visit abqdowns.com for menu and reservations.
People say less is more, but not when you're shopping for a new vehicle.
Quality Buick GMC on Lomas has a huge selection that makes finding that perfect vehicle easier and more fun.
Shop from more than 180 new GMCs,
including our best-selling Sierras. We are professional grade.
Almost 500 new and pre-owned vehicles to choose from makes your shopping easier and a lot more fun at Quality Buick GMC, Lomas in Pennsylvania Northeast.
Quality by DiLorenzo. QualityDeal.com.
Eric Strauss here. Your home is where your heart is. It's also where there's a bunch of ugly walls. CertaPro Painters can solve that problem. They are focused on helping to bring a fresh color to your home. Trust CertaPro Painters to get the job done right, even those hard-to-reach places. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. Schedule your free estimates online at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C. When choosing a painting professional, the choice is simple. Choose happy. Choose CertaPro Painters.
You might wonder, John Legend, how do you keep your voice sounding so legendary? Honey. And how do I keep my protection against COVID-19 up to date? With a COVID shot this season, designed for recent variants.
You can get your COVID-19 shot when getting your flu shot. You're due for both.
Hot ball.
Welcome back to the program. Welcome back to Two Men On. Welcome back to 95.9 FM and AM 610, the sports animal. Thanks for being a friend of the show, no matter how you listen, whatever way you listen, whether it's right here on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the sports animal, or streaming live on talkabq.com, or one of the KNML app or the TuneIn app, or you're listening in the future on Spotify, Stitcher, Apple Podcast, wherever you get your podcast. Thank you for being a friend of the show. Young Cassio, going to give us a little update on college football because I don't pay attention until rivalry week.
It has been a great year of college football. Let me tell you, Saturdays are almost more exciting to me than NFL Sundays. The teams that I'm looking out for, the sleeper teams for the college football playoff this year, are Tennessee and Ole Miss. And I have bet on both of their quarterbacks to win the Heisman this year. I'm also betting on the Boise State running back, a name I very, very much struggle to pronounce, to win the Heisman. Out of the consistency that I've seen, I think the Boise State running back has a really, really good chance. Travis Hunter might be in the equation just because of the name and the hype around him, but it depends on how good the Colorado season goes. And I can see things kind of just panning out for them. But Jackson Dart from Ole Miss is my dark horse to win the national championship this year. I could see it happening. It depends on what happens with Texas and Quinn Ewers because he's hurt. Archie Manning got his first start first and foremost, a.k.a. Vanilla Vic. He is going to be the truth when he takes over the realms from Quinn Ewers next season. Archie Manning is the guy. He runs the ball so good. He had a couple interceptions, but that's okay. He's figuring it out. Getting that chemistry going. Former NMSU quarterback Diego Pavia, who's playing for Vanderbilt now, almost took out the number 7 team in the nation, Mizzou, in double overtime. Lost that one 27-30. But Diego Pavia is kind of making Vanderbilt relevant. And it kind of sucks that this is Diego Pavia. I believe this is Diego Pavia's last year to play college football. So it's
He's a senior, but I don't know if he has another COVID year, an exempt year.
I don't know if there's a COVID year. I don't know if he was ever redshirted. So we could potentially get more Diego Pavia in the future here. And I hope so, because he's been very entertaining to watch. Lobos had a great week because they didn't have to do anything.
So are you not a believer in Cam Ward?
Cam Ward, Miami looks great. They're going to win the ACC without a doubt.
He's the Heisman favorite right now at plus 350.
And
Dylan Gabriel will win it.
The whole point with Oregon is their defense. Oregon's defense is like probably the best in the nation.
Really? Because they don't seem like on in college football 25, but it's good to know.
Yeah. Well, you've been playing a lot of college football 25.
I have, because I haven't gotten the new Madden, because if I was to use the Cowboys, I wouldn't be able to run the ball.
Okay, that's fair.
Yep, that ruins my point.
Are you playing a dynasty?
No, I am in. I like the Road to College Football playoff.
Okay.
I get that rush from just playing somebody else who's trying to beat me, and I beat them. I need a couple of those every other day to keep the ball rolling, and I'm good in the video game.
Yeah, I'm currently the head coach of the Rutgers Scarlet Knights, and Coach Casio has some serious ambitions this year.
You went Rutgers, huh?
I went Rutgers.
What was the logic there?
I saw a picture of Tony Soprano, or AKA James Gandolfini, in a Rutgers uniform, and I was like, "Yep, I want Rutgers."
That's one way to do it,
and it's the birthplace of college football.
More college football talk. We're going to leave you so we can come back. Listen to 2 Men On 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal.
This report brought to you by the New Mexico Corrections Department. The survey is in, and the best career path for your skill sets is with the New Mexico Corrections Department.